smooth common language, with different dialects translated by the strategy of the game. We are witness to beautiful goals, where unbelievable cannot begin to describe what we just saw, and where the unimaginable becomes attainable. It is where pride comes to life on the pitch, respect has been earned, and credibility has been conceived by commitment to the game. This is where passion for one game is paramount. This is where the love for one game is undeniable. This is where one game, and one game only, is found on One Soccer.
Smashed it into the top of the net. And Noah Jensen with a missile. Sanchez lines up the shot. Tristan Burgess up. Dyer was looking for it, referee ignored it. Now Zanata. Oh, maybe. They've got to be. Oh, my goodness me. They've turned it on their head. Hugs amongst the visiting bench.
With 6 goal contributions this season, they open the scoring here. And he puts it on a plate for Aparicio. A resounding and convincing victory for Atletico Ottawa.
Should be a dramatic substitution as the ball is played in. Cavalry FC are back into the top 2.
Back it's Hundo against his former team. Gives it up. Donald heads it to Diaz. An equalizer. No more seconds to be added on.
Buckle up, CPL fans. It's time to do some scoreboard watching. It's the final day of the regular season, and there's plenty to play for. What will the playoff matches be? Who will get the final playoff spot? All teams kicking off at the same time. It's the outcome, and it's on One Soccer. Hello, everyone, and welcome inside our One Soccer studio. The outcome presented by tonybet. Andy Petrillo, Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson with you. This is it. It is the final day of the regular season, and I want to remind you what there is to play for. So all games kicking off at 4 p.m. Halifax, by the way, the only team eliminated from playoff contention. They visit a Yorkside who will finish 4th. But who are they going to face, guys? 5th spot will be fought over today by Pacific, who take on Forge, Vancouver, who play Ottawa, and Valour, who face Cavalry. By the way, Ottawa, Cavalry fighting to finish 2nd. Whoever gets that 2nd place spot, they will face 1st place Forge. So it all began back in April. Here we are now in October, Wheels, and there is still a lot going on.
A bit of a marathon, but it went by like that.
It did.
Time flies when you're having fun. It's been another banner year in the Canadian Premier League, and I think the one thing that stands out more so than anything else is the parity across this league. The fact that only one team has been eliminated from playoff contention, that being Halifax, a team that was a playoff team a season ago, and still plenty of questions to be asked when it comes to the 2-3 as well. Forge, deserved champions of the regular season. They're going to be the favorites once again to lift the North Star Cup, but I think there's been balance across the board. Anyone can beat anyone any given match day.
Absolutely. I think the Canadian Premier League, they deserve a lot of credit for the adjustments that they made. All these games played at the same time. I don't care who you are. And it's how it should be. This is in the top leagues. This is what happens on the last day. So much is on the line. Players are going to be coming in at halftime, checking their phone, seeing what's going on.
Will they?
They have to.
Yeah.
I've done this to get promoted. You have to go and check and see what's going on, but you still have to do your part, Andy, which is on the pitch, everything going on, and you can't worry about the other games. You have to make sure that you take care of business on the pitch.
I know a lot of players, a lot of coaches, they're like, we don't know what's going on with those other games.
You check.
No way, of course you do. And someone who's at one of those games, Christian Jack out in Pacific. Rain is coming down behind you. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But KJ, I want to get your thoughts here on the outcome, the final day, because this has to be a dream for the league, knowing that these games matter on the final day.
Yeah, Andy, it's a great point. You talk about the games matter. I mean, the 3 of the games matter today. What does that mean? Well, of 112 regular season games in the Canadian Premier League in 2024, ultimately it'll go down the books as 111 games of meaning, and that's over 99%. And when you see a league grow and you see the development of these players, and the league continues to work on the progress of the young players being developed, it's absolutely crucial. You know, these players that I talk to, these coaches, everybody involved in these clubs, they know that when games matter, and particularly today, you know, these players are even more switched on. So look, I've been out here for about 36 very wet hours, but the feeling amongst everybody, Forge, and in particular this Team Pacific, who are the story today, knowing that they can get that 5th spot, is that this is really what it's about. They feel like the professionals. They should. The league's professionalized this. You can hear what Jordan said. And those of us who've got a deep-rooted passion for the sport in this country can all just have a smile on our faces. A lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work goes in for a lot of people putting this together today. 4 games at the same time, lots to be decided, and we should be all thankful for that over the next few hours. It should be great.
Well, as mentioned, it is coming down, and you said it's been very wet since you arrived there, and that can sometimes make for a very cagey affair. How is the weather going to affect things?
Well, I spoke to James Merriman earlier, and he's an island boy, right? I'm not. I just get to visit this beautiful place every now and again. And I asked him, how many times have you had games like this before? He couldn't remember one as wet as this. You know, he could not remember one as this. But, you know, how does it impact the game? Well, I'm looking at the team in purple. For me, Pacific, they know what it's like here. This surface is sudden. It's sudden, and it's going to be fast. So we're going to find out a lot about how the speed of the game impacts it and what to forge up for, right? Ultimately, they've left a lot of players at home. There's a bit of sickness in the camp. You know, the likes of Becker's not here, Ajabapour suspended, no Ampoma, no Badibanga, amongst others, Para as well. So there's a lot on the line here, and there's a lot favoring the home team. They're used to this. I don't expect caginess. I think if Pacific want this, they'll go out there and they've got to earn it. You mentioned it. I'm not quite sure how the iPads are going to stay dry on the bench as they look at the other results across One Soccer as they come in. But ultimately, Pacific know they control their destiny, and they've got to win the game.
Very big game for Pacific. Thanks, KJ. We'll check in with you a little later on in the show. And another team, of course, who is fighting for that 5th spot, that's Vancouver. They are in the nation's capital, taking on Atletico Ottawa. For more on that, let's head to the 2 gentlemen who are calling this one. That would be Adam Jenkins and John Conway.
Absolutely thrilled to be here on the pitch with the outcome finally here after weeks of anticipation. John Conway, you went out for a nice walk this morning. I went out for a run along the Rideau Canal, and we're just enjoying these 19-degree temperatures. Perfect day for football. We're not stressed. I think Carlos Gonzalez and Afshin Gatbi might have a little bit more pressure on their shoulders. We know they both need to win this game to have the playoff outcome that they desire, but is there a team that needs this just a little bit more?
Yeah, for me, in my opinion, it's just simple. Vancouver, this game means a lot more because their playoff implications are on the line. They need to get the win, have a little help to boost themselves into the playoff position and be able to continue their season.
So it's an interesting catch-22, these games for Vancouver, because Ottawa knows that they're in the playoffs. Vancouver needs that just to get to the dance. But you have to be pragmatic, don't you? You can't go guns blazing right from the beginning. So how do the Eagles manage this to make sure they stay in and give themselves a chance to win?
And we were lucky enough to talk to Afshin Gatbi yesterday, and he mentioned this, and he said, we're going to defend first, we're going to limit the time and space, then we're going to look to create chances. Listen, over the last 2 games, that's sort of the method that they went with. And it's worked for them. They've gotten better and better in those matches. Last week in the second half, they made some substitutions, and they were more aggressive. In those last 25 minutes, they were spectacular, getting tons of chances and tying up the game. So I think you're going to see a lot of that today. On the other hand, for Ottawa, how do you break them down? What are you going to do to be able to do this? So I think they need to be smart, and when they step out, smart in how they press, smart in how they get in the attack to be able to not get opened up to create that many more chances for Vancouver.
Ottawa know already that they'll be hosting a playoff game here at TD Place, but they're also coming in off one of the best performances we've seen from them all season long. They know how to score again, they know how to be brave, they know how to be confident, and that second place might just be within their grasp, Andy.
What a juxtaposition in weather, by the way, between seeing KJ and we got Jenkins going for a run along the Rideau Canal. But yes, here are the playoff scenarios. So they can clinch second place, Ottawa with a win, and Cavalry draw or lose to Valour. Vancouver, though, they just want to get in. To clinch that 5th place spot, they need to win, and they also need Pacific to draw or lose versus Forge. So let's take a look at Atletico Ottawa's starting 11 here. Up front, Del Campo, Salter. We know Del Campo right now leading the way in the Golden Boot race. That'll be pretty exciting as well. See if he can pick up anything here. But when it comes to, Atletico, they're coming off a really big performance, as we know, Wheels, because they ended up beating Forge. So really keeping themselves in that conversation for second place. What are you expecting here?
Well, I'm a little bit surprised that there are changes in the starting 11. There was one forced change with Luke Singh suspended through card accumulation today, but there's 3 changes in this 11, including Balou Tabla coming out of the team. Jordan, I'm going to take your words, what you said after last week's game. It was Atletico Ottawa's best game of the season.
Hands down.
2-0 at Forge. This was a team that's been limping towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only their second win in their last 8 games. And having played so well and seemingly coming up with a proper mix, I am a little bit surprised that Tabla is out of the team. That one sticks out to me here.
Yeah, rightfully so. I thought he was excellent last week. I thought the chemistry and fluidity between Atletico Ottawa, specifically midfielders and attackers, were dynamite. I will say Forge weren't at their best last week, but Ottawa didn't make it easy for them. We have to talk about the nucleus, which is the middle. Sissoko, Aparicio, Bassett. I am so glad Carlos Gonzalez didn't change that, Andy, because if he did, I'd be wondering why. It was the best Atletico Ottawa performance we've seen all year, and he's getting the most out of his best players. So Tabla coming off the bench, we'll see if that works. I understand that you have to play Salter because he was exceptional last week, but a guy like Balou Tabla, he's a pain to play against. I would start him if I were him.
You have to win this game, and there's been calls over the season to play both Salter and Del Campo at the same time. Two kind of number 9s, 2 up top, and he's doing so today in a much different way in a must-win game. So it's intriguing to me. They might, just a reminder, might be playing without Luke Singh come playoff time if he's handed supplementary additional punishment to an incident where there was a punch thrown in last week's game. So big spot for a young defender in Tier Walker to play alongside one of the top defenders in the Canadian Premier League in Amir Didic across the back line.
And you would hope as well the confidence spills over from the game against Forge because, by the way, the 2 goals they got came before Forge got the red card. So it's not like they got it with Forge being a man down. Let's hear from the coaches now, beginning with Carlos Gonzalez.
And it's easier said than done, but you need to win this game and have some results go your way for that second spot. But you're also kind of sitting in a good spot knowing you'll get a home game in the playoffs. As a coach, how do you find that balance of searching for the 3 points without leaving yourself exposed and perhaps even losing this game and taking that second spot off the table?
Well, I don't think that we should look too much at the 3rd position. I think we're hungry. I think we are an ambitious team, and we want to fight today to be in the 2nd position. If finally we cannot do it because Calgary wins his game, well, we will take it. But our focus is in doing a good game, in winning the 3 points, and also I think it's the best way to finish the regular season.
Afshin, you've been around the world, you've played in these big matches, you've coached these big matches. What does it take when the pressure is on the line to get the guys motivated without getting them too much in their own heads?
Well, it's all about embracing the pressure, and it's all about, in my opinion, enjoying the moment. I think as a professional, you prepare for these days, and you actually look forward to these days because it brings the best out of you. And I think our players are excited because for the last 2 years, we've sacrificed so much to be in a position to be able to earn a playoff spot. And I think it's a very exciting day for the league and also for our franchise.
So here's a look now at Vancouver starting 11. This team winless in their past 7, 0-3-4 their record. They are trailing Pacific by 2 points. So they're still in this race miraculously. They're going to need some goals from Diaz here. He's proven he can score. They're going to need a win. Is it too much to say, or are you in agreement that if they don't make the playoffs, Jordan, it's considered a failure?
It's tough because I think with 7, 8, and 12, that's their record. They have only Halifax have won less games than them with 6 this season. They started hot. They made me believe. You reminded me the other day that I thought they were going to score the most goals, which they clearly did not.
Nope. That's only one prediction you got wrong all year, my
fair,
friend.
but one where basically I'm trying to say is that they started this season hot and they've dipped. If they do make it and they do manage to get a win today and limp into the playoffs, I think that's a true success. But if they don't make it, I feel like they've been average for the good majority of the year, Wheels.
You're looking at Afshin Gopi here. I really like him, but the responsibility is going to lay at his feet if the team doesn't make it into the playoffs. They're the worst team point-wise over the last 8 games of the season. They've only won once out of their last 8, twice out of their last 10. He's chopping and changing every week. There's no continuity in who he plays, in how he plays. And the unfortunate thing in it all, he's played as experienced players. There's some very good young players that haven't got and received an extended look this year as well. So I think it would be a huge setback for this very young club if they don't make the playoffs this year. It's been a case of who's going to go out and get it. And Vancouver were leading the pack up until last week, still in that 5th and final playoff spot. And now it's beyond their control here today. All they can do is come out and potentially put on a performance, but there's very little over the last 2 months that would suggest to me that they're capable of doing that here today.
They're going to need help even if they pull off a victory, but at the end of the day, in order to win, you got to score some goals. So how important is Diaz here?
Yeah, he's the guy. He's been the guy to step up, and I think just the quality that he has always gives him a chance. You see last week as well, where he just has that bit over strikers, over defenders to just put the ball in the back of the net. I will say to Wheels' point about Ashton Gotby is, I feel as oftentimes, I know it's difficult to be a manager because you have to balance all these young men and injuries and who's the right selection for the week. But the fact that I feel like Ashton Gotby has focused a little bit too much this season on that match at hand. You have to think about pairing, chemistry, who really can step up, motivate one guy, stroke this guy's ego, make sure that there's balance within the squad. I think that playing into moments has been to his detriment. But now, Wheels, this is the biggest moment. Finding that 11, 12, 13 players that you need to go and produce, and maybe they can get it done for him.
But they've been risk adverse. Even today's 11 is very defensive in nature. They go out and trade Moses Dyer. He, alongside Wero Diaz, to start the season, were on fire. They trade him to bring in Eamon Salouf. Maybe can be a little bit more of a catalyst from an attacking perspective. He can't get off the bench, Andy. Even last week, I thought they played great in the second half. Once he released the hounds, took off the harness to a certain degree here. I do think there's talent in this team, but 5 goals scored in your last 8 games?
Not good enough.
With that kind of attacking talent in the team, it's nowhere near good enough. Both teams, in fairness, have played safe. Far too safe over the last month of the season. So are either one of these sides willing to take off the safety belt here today?
Yeah, because some of these players that we're going to show you right now, they haven't scored in a while either, but they are in the Golden Boot race, and 2 of them are going to be going head-to-head here. And, Ruben Del Campo with Ottawa, and Diaz, who we've just been talking about, is trailing him by 1, representing Vancouver. So Reshevsky in that conversation with Cavalry, and then you have Brian Wright and Dan Nimick, who are down there. But, yeah, this will be fun to see who's going to get the Golden Boot for this year. But let's take a look now at the tonybet lines for Atletico Ottawa hosting Vancouver. Wheels, what's your play?
Under. Understruck. Under 2.5 at +112. These teams just don't show that they can score enough goals on a regular basis.
Watch this be a 4-3 thriller last day, right?
I would love that.
I would love it.
I'll happily be wrong.
Oh, I'll take it.
I'll take all kinds of goals, that's for sure. All right, so we got you set up there for Vancouver, Ottawa. We have 3 other games to get you set up for, and that will include Valour Cavalry. Cavalry, the other team, going up against Ottawa here for that 2nd spot in the standings to have that chance to play in the 1-2 game in the playoffs. Why does that matter? Because the winner of that goes straight to the final. Stay with us. It's The Outcome on One Soccer.
TonyBet, bet. At TonyBet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with TonyBet, bet.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Welcome back to The Outcome, presented by tonybet. The final day of the regular season in the CPL. Perfect weather as well in Winnipeg as Valour gets set to host Cavalry. For more on this matchup, here's Nigel Reed and Oliver Platt.
Well, Ollie, you can't spell Winnipeg without a win. We know Valour has to do just that. They need help from elsewhere. But the question is, can they take care of their own business and give themselves a chance?
Yeah, I think it's a long shot, to be honest with you, to get everything they need and the stars to align today. But I do think with this Valour team, you have to give them some credit for being in the mix today. You know, this had a transition season written all over it when you bring in 14 players. You start with 8 consecutive road games to start the season. And I think the way they've turned this season around to still be in the mix, to still be alive on the final day of the regular season, you have to give them some praise to that. They made a system change in the middle of July, an away game against Atletico Ottawa. They switched to the 4-4-2 they're going to play today. Since then, they're the third points per game form team in the CPL. So there's something here. There's a lot of core players under contract for next year that I think they're going to take into 2025. It's just a case of, is it come too soon for the playoffs this season, or can they pull off a minor miracle today?
When I think of Cavalry, I think of consistency. There's no doubting their pedigree, and they have something to play for themselves. A win sorts out where they finish, gives them that easier path in the playoffs.
Yeah, plenty of incentive for them, and this is the big challenge for Valour today, is that this Cavalry side, you know, they're well tested against teams fighting for playoff position. Their last 3 games, Vancouver, Pacific, Halifax, knocked Halifax out last weekend and have taken 7 points from a possible 9 in those 3 games. They've only lost 1 in their last 13, which is away at Forge. So it's a massive task for Valour, but I think for this Cavalry team, you look at the past couple of games in particular since Jay Herdman's come into the starting lineup, it really feels like the final piece of the puzzle for them. They look as balanced and as in form as they have been at any point during the year.
Look forward to their call. So here's a look at the playoff scenarios. Valour's going to need a lot of help here in order to clinch that 5th place. So they'll have to win, but then they also need Vancouver draw or lose to Ottawa. And by the way, they're going to need Pacific to lose for Forge. A lot of stars are going to have to align there. Could happen. So you're saying there's a chance. For Cavalry, in order to get second, they need to win, or if they draw or lose versus Valour, Atletico Ottawa needs to draw or lose to Vancouver. Or let's go to Cavalry now, sorry. This is their starting 11. Reshevsky, we just saw him in the Golden Boot race there. A goal, he'll end up tying Del Campo. And with Cavalry, the big talk here, Jordo, of course, has been, are they the ones who can dethrone Forge? We know they're making the playoffs. Whether it's the second spot that they can hold on to, or at some point there's a feeling they'll face Forge. Can they do it? Is this the year they can do it?
I mean, I think so. I think with this bench, they probably are the strongest team. You saw Wright. You saw Lowell Wright as well on the bench. You saw Valling. They have players that can come off and do damage. You have Trafford on the bench. Look at this lineup. Camargo in the team, feeling fit. Musi has been a handful since he's come back from injury. Wojciechowski is probably, for me, the striker in the league that I wouldn't want to play against. He's a guy that can score from distance, get in the box, get in dangerous areas. Jay Herdman's been a great addition. What I'm trying to say is Cavalry have numbers. On a day where must win, they have weapons. I can guarantee you right now, Forge fans don't want to see Ali Musi come to Tim Hortons Field. They don't want to see this team try to play. I will say Forge is still the best team, but Cavalry, for me, Wheels is number 2.
There's a couple changes to that starting 11. Camden's in at left back, Field is out. But largely, it's the front 3 that has turned around this team's luck. It's turned around their season. Andy, what's the expression? Timing is everything. This is Cavs season. This was a team legitimately 2 months ago we were saying, do they have enough to make the playoffs? Now they look the team that's most likely to go up against Forge in a potential Canadian Premier League final again. Ali Musi is the most valuable player in the Canadian Premier League. He's only going to be able to play about 16 games on the season, which probably isn't enough to win that award, Andy. But for me, no player, the success of their team is predicated on the play of one player more than it is Ali Musi on Cavalry. He is that good. Warshevsky, healthy now. Jay Herdman, savvy pickup. That left side of the field has been a big problem. He solidified that. Charlie Trafford available off the bench. Cobb's available on the bench. All of a sudden, you look at this team, they're as deep as they've been all season, which tells me that they're prepared to make a deep playoff run.
And Andy, we didn't even talk about Klump and Aird. We can spend a lot of time on those two as well. We give a lot of love to midfielders and the strikers that inevitably change games. But those two, for me, they deserve a lot of credit for Cavalry's success this season.
And it was probably just past the halfway point of the season, too, where they really started to round out into form. Slow start. I legitimately thought we were going to be sitting here on the outcome and say, are they on the outside looking in? Yeah, but no, they've put themselves in a position to finish second. Let's hear from the coaches, beginning with Tommy Wilden Jr.
Tommy, I know a lot of eyes will be on Valour and their playoff chase today, but you've got plenty to play for as well. How much of an incentive is it to have that chance to potentially host the CPL final?
Oh, of course, listen, that's what we're in it for. We wanted to finish. I love the league table. You know, I'm a purist, so you want to finish as high as possible. For us, that's finishing in second place at this point. But, you know, given on the back end of the season, we've been very, very good, so we've got to carry on with that. You know, Valour, very similar to Halifax last week, they're going to play with some gusto, they're going to play with some skill, they're going to put their best effort forward. That puts us in good stead. We want to play against people's best, and we're hoping for a really good game.
Phil, last day of the regular season, 4 games kicking off at the same time. What would it mean to be able to pull this off for Valour today?
Yeah, excitement, a lot of excitement. I think that just the thought that, you know, there's a possibility, and we'll see where we're at in a few hours. You know, it's an exciting moment. We just have to believe. We have to focus on the process, focus on the game itself, and go all the way. Go all the way. That's how we see it.
Well, as you saw there in the scenarios, they need a win and they need a lot of other things to happen as well. Valour's starting 11 here of the original teams to have kicked off 2019 CPL. Valour's the only one that has yet to see the postseason. Can they do it? Can they do it, Wheels? What have you seen from them?
They're tough today. Honestly, it's been a valiant effort by Valour to get back in this thing. The story of their season, new field at Princess Auto Stadium. They played their first 7 games away from home. They got smashed in the Canadian Championship by Ottawa. This team looked like they were done. They were buried, and they weren't getting out of it. They put themselves midway through the season in a really good position. The problem is, every game here down the stretch, good performances, draw. They've drawn 5 of their last 8
maybe
games.
not going their way.
Well, the game against Ottawa is an absolute backbreaker, the late penalty that was given to Atletico Ottawa that robbed them 2 points. If they'd picked up those 2 points, then we might be in a different scenario. But they've had other chances. Like last week in a 1-1 draw against Vancouver, in what we called it a must-win, they look completely out of gas. So you just question right now whether there's enough in this team to get them over the line here. They need help. They're playing at home. They're the one team that's playing for that 5th and final playoff spot that's playing at home today. Interesting that Reza Rousseau and Quacy are both out of the starting 11 here today as well. For Phil DeSantos, he's tinkered. The squad's a little bit deeper. But those 2 players on the bench to me surprised me because they've been 2 of their best players over the last few months.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Maybe that he's going that discipline route, I would say, with that midfield 3, keeping O'Heen and Dante Campbell and Mla, who's been an excellent pickup coming from CS St. Laurent mid-season. Valour, this is do or die. It's gut check time. Obviously, I'm stating something that's already in the air, and they know that. But you see with this team, they're so likable. So many players that you want to cheer for and root for. This man specifically, Dante Campbell, has played right back, left back, played in the middle. He's done it all for his team. And even speaking to them, this is all they've wanted: a 5th place spot, a chance at the dance to go in and do it. Today's it. You got to do your part, Wheels, and get that win, and then hope that the football gods take care of everything else.
It wasn't just that start of the season away from home. They brought in like 14, 15 new players.
Yeah.
Now you're seeing the group come together. Mortakudis and Facineri at center back have been excellent. They arguably have the best left back and a player that will have a lot of consideration in Defender of the Year in Temi Etenoglu, who's been outstanding at that position. So they have some interesting pieces here. Again, good performances, that's fine, but they haven't just won enough games to take it over the line.
tonybet lines as we take a look at this matchup here. What are you going with, Wheels?
I have a hard time thinking that Cavalry's not going to win this. Valour only ever beat them 3 times over the course of their history. So Cavalry's been thoroughly dominant, including the games this season. Got to back Cavalry to win at -122.
I would agree with you. I can't argue.
All right, so you could.
I lose
that argument.
So these are two things we know. Forge is going to finish first, and York is going to finish 4th. But who will their opponent be? Because York will face the 5th place team. I like that. You got Pacific, Valour, Vancouver. Hey, who did that logo? Good on you. Nice little shout out putting those 3 together. It's the hybrid, the tri-bread. Versus, that'll happen on Wednesday, October 23rd. And we're going to talk about York's matchup because they too are in action today against Halifax, the only team officially eliminated from playoff contention. You are watching The Outcome here on One Soccer, presented by tonybet.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica, then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.
WestJet is a proud sponsor of the Canadian Premier League.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
This one is for you.
Beautiful weather in Halifax as well as they get set to host York United. Halifax has known for a while now that they are not going to be making the playoffs, but York, they know, and they've known for a while too, they've been in 4th. They just don't know who their opponent is, and this is their starting 11. This has got to be a tricky game, Jordan, only because you want to, keep your rhythm going. You want to make sure you're ready for the playoffs, but you're also taking on a team that's not going to be making the playoffs. You don't want to risk any kind of injury. I can imagine all the things that just start to go through your head when you think of this final game.
Yeah, you start to chop and change. One that you have to talk about is Elijah Adekugbe. He's been a mainstay for York United ever since Benjamin Moore has come to the squad. And honestly, in my opinion, has built the team around him in some respects. Someone who sits and plays passes forward. But I think the big one today, Wheels, has to just be the fact that Mo Babuli's back in the lineup and hasn't played since September 28th against Forge and has come out with a back injury. The fact that I will say it's a bit of a risk to go and play him when you have a big match that matters on Wednesday. But then there are people also saying you need to go and test it. You need to go and see what he's capable of. If you go and maybe play him, wait for Wednesday, and he plays 20 minutes and comes out with a back injury, you're like, maybe you should have tried him earlier. So I don't know how people feel about that one.
You got to test him now. Saturday, Wednesday isn't that difficult. You're playing at home. Like, look, this team, their season was derailed. They went from a contender for the Canadian Premier League Shield to a team that settled into that 4 spot. This has been a disappointing final 10 games. They've lost 5 times, and they've only scored 7 goals in the last 10 games. It's not just Babuli. He needs to give it a go today. No Babuli, no party, no chance for York United on Wednesday, no matter who they play. Frank Stirring on the bench today. He's been out for a long time. Noah Botnay, they've missed those 2 center backs.
Absolutely.
They've lost the complete spine of this team, Jordan. They need these players on the field to show their manager, Benjamin Mora, whether they can contribute come playoff time. So for me, this is a big game for York to get some of these players reacclimated. No Ferrari, that might be proceeding with caution a little bit because he's played like almost every minute of the season, but I think it's a balancing act today for Benjamin Mora.
And I will be the one to say this because the team will never say it, and why would they? I mean, they want more. They want to go out and win. But I have to say, when you make a coaching change, when you make ownership change, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a solid year. Of course, they're going to say that's not enough.
Something
rightfully
to
so. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what they're going to say, but it is still something to celebrate. For Halifax, we know that there's going to be work to do, especially in the off season, because what does that look like? A lot of these players will probably be auditioning for spots next year. But if you were to look at maybe some of the players to build around Wheels, what are you thinking with Halifax?
Most disappointing team in the Canadian Premier League by far. They started the season with 4 straight losses, and they've been petulant, and there has been nowhere near enough leadership in this team. And they're playing 3 players who are under 21 today, the team that has played the fewest under 21 minutes in the Canadian Premier League. The players that I believe going forward you can build around, this man right here, Sean Rea, I kind of feel for him a little bit. He jumped on a moving train that was kind of spinning out of control to a certain degree. We know his quality both here in Major League Soccer, what he can bring to the table. And Nassim Mekadech at center back, I honestly think, give him a full season in the Canadian Premier League, he can be one of, if not the top center back in this league. He has been that good since he stepped in. It's been a difficult year. Sophomore slumps for players like Nimick, Caligari, and Farron. They've been disappointing. But I think these 2 newcomers give a reason to believe that this turnaround can come quickly next year for Halifax.
Yeah, Patrice Geyser wanted some players to come and buy in and change the environment a little bit too late. But Mekadech and Ray I think, are class players to start with. I have to also go with Nimick and Farron, who are outstanding. Andy, last season, they finished 3rd, but they were second on points. Like, this team, this is why we're being hard on them, is they finished 8th, and they should have finished much higher in the table. But there are players that they just didn't come up and show up for the season. So I think with Patrice Geyser, there's some players you got to ask some questions about moving forward.
Yeah, it's always a little disappointing when you finally make the playoffs. For the first time ever, you host a home playoff game, and then the following year, you're out of the conversation. But when it comes to the TonyBet lines, what's your pick here, Wheels?
I think Halifax will try to reward what has and continues to be an outstanding fan base, lots of support in Halifax. I'll back a Halifax win in this one. I think the performance is more important than the result for York United here.
You know, I don't think Halifax are winning. I think it's either York or a draw. And I'm going to say today I don't want any draws. So York.
No, we don't want draws. We also want a great game on October 25th. By the way, the Canadian women will be back on the pitch. They'll be taking on the reigning World Cup champions, Spain. October 25th, 2:45 p.m. ET, international friendly, right here on One Soccer. We've taken you through 3 of the 4 matchups, so when we come back, it's the 4th and final matchup. Forge, who we know are the CPL Shield winners, will be taking on Pacific, who currently are renting 5th spot. They don't own it yet. They want to own it. We'll get you set for that match next. The outcome on One Soccer by TonyBet.
TonyBet, bet at tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with
tonybet. Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
It's the outcome presented by tonybet right here on One Soccer. The final day of the regular season. All 4 teams kicking off at 4 p.m. ET. That includes Pacific Forge. And when KJ first arrived last night, it was still raining. As you can see, the clouds still hovering over the island. This is what he had to say in his first impressions of this matchup.
2024 has already seen a remarkable rise for the sport in this country. On Saturday, another chapter will be written as the Canadian Premier League's final 4 games are played at the same time. After 108 games, 27 weeks, where over 450,000 fans will have come through the gates, we have one more day. I have made my way here to a wet Vancouver Island to see Pacific FC, who are in 5th place, take on league winners Forge FC. For the first time though, Forge are not quite the story in this one. Of all the scenarios and storylines to play out on Saturday, the biggest of them all lies here with James Merriman's Pacific FC. Champions in 2021, semi-finalists in 2022 and 2023, they hold the 5th and final playoff spot with both Vancouver and Valour hoping to steal it from them. Fittingly, if they want it, they have to come through this side in Langford, BC to take it from them. It's not been an easy year for this team. Separate winless streaks of 7 and 5 games show struggles that began in the summer of 2023 when they were the top of the league. Since then, 46 points from 43 games show the inconsistencies. Yet despite the losses of a key core of champions such as Marco Bustos, Alejandro Diaz, Amir Didic and Manny Aparicio, one thing that is abundantly clear about this group is their mentality and spirit in big moments. Performances in CONCACAF, CPL playoffs and the Canadian Championships, where they were semi-finalists again this year, speak to that. And as they trained here for one last time before the outcome on Saturday, you can sense those experiences fuel them to do it again.
So here are the playoff scenarios for these 2 teams. Pacific will clinch 5th spot with a win or a draw and Vancouver draw or lose. Or they can also clinch with a loss, Vancouver draw or lose, and a Valour draw or lose. As we know, Forge has clinched that 1st spot. They are just awaiting who that 2nd spot will go to, who their opponent will be for the 1st and 2nd place playoff matchup winner of that straight to the final. Here's Pacific starting 11, and KJ kind of touched on a lot of it too, just the up and down season. They were so great defensively, then they really had trouble finding the back of the net while letting in goals. Then they found their scoring touch again. Here's KJ with their head coach, James Merriman.
James, wet day out here, but certainly you're looking for a bright result. What's the expectations today and the message to the team ahead of this huge game for your club?
Yeah, the message has been consistent the entire week, is to control what we can control and focus on the game in front of us, not play into the scenarios of the other matches. Of course, we know what it is, but we need to focus here. We know we win and we're in, and that's in our control, and that's where the focus needs to be.
Let's get into your 11. Emil Gazdav back from suspension, has started 20 games, but you've gone with Sean Melvin. Why?
Yeah, I think, it's a difficult decision. Obviously, the mistake Emil knows in the last match that he played here. Sean Melvin stepped up. He was very good in the game against York. Obviously, you see the team. We haven't changed much. We stay with that team. We take care of this game, and then hopefully we push through and get into the playoffs, and that's another conversation.
Quickly, one on your attack. You got 12 goals in your last 7 with Dario up front and Dyer. Previously, you struggled to score. What do you like about those two up front together?
Yeah, I think it's, Moses has really helped Dario. He's brought him back to life, so to speak, and Dario's been a big leader down the stretch as well. He's kind of, used his experience and been more vocal in the locker room and in the team, and I think that's contagious, and you see it in the performances and the chemistry, and even with the goal with Rion Moore, the unselfish pass, that shows what he's bringing. So it's been a very good combination down the stretch, and we hope for big things today.
Another big day for your club. Enjoy it.
Thank you, KJ. Appreciate it.
James, pretty open in that one. What has turned things around for them that's maybe going to lead you to believe they can solidify this 5th spot?
Well, they're starting to score goals. That certainly helps. Honestly, during the midway point of the season, and Jordan's been there before with York United in the past, sometimes you just feel no matter what you do, you're not going to score a goal. Like, they were dreadful. Like, it was nil. Like, every game they played. Now, all of a sudden, they've scored 12 in their last 7 games.
Yeah.
Scored 19 in the previous 20 before that in the CPL. So that certainly helped. Players have stepped up. I just think that they're finally in a moment where they're feeling confident. They're playing so much more free. It was like they were playing so defensive for so long. You take the shackles off a little bit, then they've been able to show something. Let's see how they deal with the pressure today, because there is significant pressure. This is a team that controls their own destiny, and they play the best team in the Canadian Premier League without their best players. We'll get to the Forge starting 11. This is a weak Forge side that they're playing here today. If they don't go on and punch their playoff ticket, this season, despite making a Canadian Championship semifinal, would go down as a massive disappointment.
On a wet day, last game of the season, at home, you're playing Forge, who you beat in the North Star Cup 2021. There's some players that are in the heart of this team that know that feeling, what it means to lift that trophy. And you win and you're in, as Wheels already said. There is nothing else that can block this team. You ask me what has got them here, I'll say the partnership and chemistry and cohesion that we've seen as of late. That was not there in the middle of the season or the beginning of the season. Zanata has 4 goals in the last 10. Dyer has come in and for me been a game changer in this team with 4 goals. Zanata had 2 pens, but I'll still count them, the 4 goals. It needs to be said. They are playing now and scoring. But all that means nothing, Trills, if they go here today at home and lay an egg.
Back 4 remains solid. That's been solidified. TMG, Mayor Jaguar's been great.
Top player.
Playing Melvin over Gazdav, that's a big call today. And Merriman explained it. I mean, I think Gazdav has been one of the best goalkeepers in the Canadian Premier League. Another big call, Rayon Moore scored a brace in the last game that had put Pacific in this season. That's a big call to keep him out of the starting 11 when all your players, it's not as if necessarily have been lighting the world on fire. Super sub, is that it? Is that his role? We'll see. And Josh Hurd, available for the first time. Last time he played was August 11th.
Yeah.
This is the club captain that they've been playing without. So no excuses today for Pacific. Have to go out and win this.
Are you whispering that in case Forge is listening? As we bring you Forge's starting 11, don't let them know that he's possibly a super sub. Well, look, here are the subs for Forge as well.
More is more.
As we take a look at their starting 11, too. The team that has won the CPL Shield and has earned a berth in CONCACAF Champions Cup next season. They are now trying to do what no other team has ever done, which is win the Shield and the North Star Cup in the same year. Here's Bobby Smyrniotis.
Bobby, a game that has no bearings on the standings for you, but certainly helps you prepare for next week's qualifying semi-final. What are you looking at for your team today?
Yeah, performance. That's the most important thing. You know, we got some rotation of the players in the lineup and making sure that they're getting a good run in, making sure we're going through our processes, try a few different things that maybe we look at. And, you know, that's been our process since that game in Valour. It's preparing for the 27th. So this is just part of it.
And great news for Forge fans. Tristan Borges is here in the 11. What can we expect from him and how much of a boost is that?
Yeah, he's been one of our most crucial players. You look at between him and Ali Hojabrapur, they've been our our links in the midfield, getting ourselves moving, and for him being out the last couple of games is to get out there in this beautiful weather, get through his motions and have a positive performance and prepare us for next week.
Last one, Bobby. Only 2 outfield players in the history of the league have played every minute of the game in the season. Alex Ashton-Johnson can be the 3rd today. What does that stat mean to you, and what does Alex mean to you?
Yeah, Alex is everything to us. He's the start of our play. Not only is he an excellent defender, but he keeps everything ticking for us from the back moving forward. We don't look too much at the stats. He'll get his run in today, but the guy's excellent. He's been here for 6 years. 6 years. We've had a lot of success with him in the lineup, and we want to keep on going.
Thanks, Bobby. Good luck. Enjoy today.
Thank you.
KJ's umbrella work with that interview, not good.
Selfish.
That was a little
We've all done it. We've all done it. Here, let me hold this for you.
Poor Bobby is just dripping down.
Just the edge of the water coming up.
What happened, KJ?
I love it.
So it's a slick haircut. No hair up top. Just drips off.
Yeah, really. So a lot of good news, obviously, for Forge. We've been explaining it. They're going to, head into the playoffs. Firstly, though, you want to go in with another win here because you don't want to go into the playoffs with back-to-back losses. But more than anything, let's talk about a suspension. Daniel Parra means a lot to this team. It has come down. He has been suspended for 3 games. By the way, Forge can appeal this, but just how does this change the look of this team?
He's one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in the Canadian Premier League. But most importantly, right there, you see the action. For me, it's good enough to be suspended. There are things you need to do as a player. There are lines that you can maybe flirt with. This is one that you cannot cross. You cannot strike an opponent. I know people might say that might be soft, but playing the game, playing in this league specifically, there are things you can do and get away with and maybe warrant a yellow, but that for me is a suspension. And I will say, Forge have to change the way that they play a little bit. Olabi Bellewu playing left back, more defensive minded, good at going forward. But Parr would bomb down the left, give crosses, come inside, sometimes be like an extra midfielder. For me, you can't replace a guy like that.
But they will, and they've done it this year because he didn't play in Can Champ against Toronto FC. Do you know who played that position? Malik Olawabi Bellewu, who put Federico Bernardeschi in his back pocket. He won't go, but Olawabi Bellewu making the gallivanting runs forward. They're just going to have to play in a little bit of a different way. So boo-hoo. First of all, I don't like in any sport, let alone in football, legislating or making calls and suspensions like this when the call wasn't made on the field initially.
I hear you.
I don't like that. It's unfortunate that it's 3 games. Seems a little bit harsh for me, Andy. So they're going to have to adjust. But for me here today, Bobby said performance is important. Look, Jordan Hamilton has 1 goal this season. 1 goal. It's been a dreadful year. Kone hasn't played. Kane hasn't played. A rare start for Dom Samuel today. Again, this is the reason why I think that Pacific can get after Forge a little bit. Yeah, they have great players. Matusala, Ashton Yodi-Janssen, Borges, Jensen's been on great form, but this is nowhere near a first choice Forge side. They're already looking to October 27th, playing at home with a chance to host yet another Canadian Premier League final.
TonyBet lines for this matchup. Where you going, Wheels?
I like the under in this game, but I like Pacific to edge it. They have to. I'm backing Pacific to be the 5th and final playoff team here. Against this Forge side, no excuses, and I'm not going to make one for them.
Plus 240, Forge win. I understand what Wheels is saying, but for me, even Forge's second team, air quote, is still good enough to go out and win this game. Absolutely.
All right, guys, we're here for the long haul. It's going to be my first ever match night.
Come on, Trills.
I know, I can't
Get
wait.
excited.
Do I get to go home?
Come on.
No, you're staying, buddy.
Match night. Match night.
Match night.
That's an improvement, in fairness.
I'll get there.
Improvement.
Listen, it's because I am too jacked up for The Outcome, presented by TonyBet. We have set you up now for all 4 matches that are kicking off in just 10 minutes' time. Who will Forge face? Who will York face? Who will get that final playoff spot? We're going to find out in The Outcome.
On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we encourage Canadians to pause and remember all that veterans have sacrificed for us, lest we forget.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
This one is for you.
We are getting set. Kickoffs are just around the corner. Here's how things stand right now heading into the matchups. Of course, we will be giving you some live updates throughout. By the way, all these games available on the One Soccer YouTube channel. By the way, you can have your chance to win $5,000 by participating in the CPL Playoff Bracket Challenge presented by TonyBet. Challenge starts tomorrow. Head on over to campl.ca for more details. $5 Gs? I'm playing.
$5 Gs.
Let's play, baby. Maybe we can start placing some bets on who's going to win the Golden Boot. Who do you think? Del Campo's leading now.
Do you know what I think is going to happen?
What's going to happen?
I'm looking at Tobias Warshevsky. With bags of brace today, come away with the Golden Boot against Valour. Cavalry always play good against Valour. Warshevsky looks back. He looks fit. Scored last week. I'm looking at Warshevsky to maybe pull a little bit of an upset here.
Can I say what I don't want? I don't want it to be a tie. I don't like when you share that award. Someone go out and win it. Del Campo, you haven't scored in a while.
Last year?
I don't like it. Like, you hold a picture too. Like, what are you holding? There needs to be one outright Golden Boot winner. Del Campo, go and score a goal today, Papa.
The message has been sent. We're obviously making a big deal of the fifth and final playoff spot because it's still up for grabs, but you're more curious, too, about who's going to finish second.
Yes, because Wheel said Cav season. I will say they're the second best team in the Canadian Premier League. I think they're heating up. How hot? Something on the line. We need you in pressure time to go out. I want to see them destroy Valour. I love Valour, love their coach, love the way they've been playing. But I want to go see, if you really want that second place spot, go win 3-0 today. Atletico Ottawa, they played the best performance last week. And in Atletico Ottawa fashion, what would they do the week after? Play safe, play backwards, passes to the keeper, very tentative. Go out and dominate today. This is what I want to see. If you're going to be a second-place team, show that you should be there and it shouldn't be a fluke.
Whoever gets fifth place, it's almost like a punishment in a way because you have to run through the gauntlet. Like, yeah, you made the playoffs, but number two, finishing second place is huge. You not only are one of two teams with a chance to host the final, you win your next game against Forge, you go on and host the Canadian Premier League final. Beyond that, if Forge end up doing the double this year, winning the Shield and the North Star Cup, second place qualifies for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And you know that's something that's in Cavalry. It's part of their expectation year in, year out. That's where Atletico Ottawa wants to be. So that 2-3 between Cavalry and Ottawa, that's huge today. That's what I'm going to be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that matters. And I think that's what's been so great ever since they changed this a couple of years ago, the playoff format. To your point, so 1 and 2, you win that, you go straight to the final. If you finish fifth, great. I mean, I'm not saying, getting a ticket to the dance is bad, but you're right. Now you've got to play, 3 games before you can even...
Away. Everything away.
Everything away. So, having said that, fifth place is up for grabs, and we really want to see who gets it. Right now, Pacific is sitting there, but you know that Vancouver and Valour nipping at their heels. Cavalry, Atletico, they want that second spot. York is the only one, and Forge, who have solidified their spots. It's Forge in first. It's York United in fourth. So both of them are awaiting their opponents.
Let's do this.
It all comes down to the last day. I love it when this matters.
Enjoy it.
Is this what we're doing? Enjoy. To everyone at home, I hope you enjoy this. Remember, all games available on the One Soccer YouTube channel. On the main network, we are going to stick with Vancouver and Atletico Ottawa, but we will keep you updated on everything else happening in those other games. Buckle up. Here we go, CPL fans. The outcome presented by tonybet on One Soccer. Kickoffs coming up after the break.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
I wanna run it back to you. All I wanna do is run it back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
At tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with tonybet.
tonybet is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Greetings from the gateway to the prairies, where we can't wait to discover the outcome of the Canadian Premier League season, presented by tonybet. Nigel Reid in the booth alongside One Soccer analyst Oliver Platt, welcoming you to Winnipeg, where Valour FC hosts the high-flying Calgarians of Cavalry FC on the final day of the regular season.
Proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
Oh, Carol! Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Volkswagen, the official automotive partner of the Canadian Premier League.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This one is for you.
WestJet is a proud sponsor of the Canadian Premier League.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
CIBC is a proud partner of the Canadian Premier League.
It is week 28 of 28 of the 2024 Canadian Premier League season. We're at the Prince George Auto Stadium in Winnipeg. And our referee is Jussi Rudolph from North York. Fabrizio Stasola is the fourth official, greeting the two captains, Marco Carducci and Rafa O'Heen of Valour FC. Well, Valour simply must win and then hope other results go their way in a last-ditch effort to make the playoffs. And their head coach, Phil Dos Santos, makes three changes to the team held last time out. In is O'Heen in midfield. Sifwane Mla will start on the right wing. And Abdul Benati, the youngster, is given the responsibility up front alongside joint leading scorer Sean Hundle. Geordie Swibble, the Australian, also with 7 goals this season, will start on the bench for Valour this afternoon. Cavalry in their change strip of all whites. And Tommy Wheeldon Jr., just one change to the team that won last time out, and that is the inclusion of Brad Camden at left back. He is in for Tom Field, who is ruled out through injury. So for the 28th time this season, Wheeldon Jr. fields a different starting 11. Toby Warszewski there wearing number 9 and in pursuit of the golden boot. He has 10 to start the day. He's one behind Ruben Del Campo of Atletico Ottawa. He scored 3 goals in his last 2 games. And as we glance at the Cavalry bench, Tommy Wheeldon Jr., Ollie knowing that he can make changes. It's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. Players just fit into their slots.
Yeah, I think he's got the most settled team I think that he's had at any point in the season, really. We talked about it a little bit pre-game, the introduction of Jay Herdman, who's come in on loan late in the season. It's been that left-sided player that I think was the final piece of the puzzle in terms of giving Tommy Wheeldon Jr. his preferred starting 11 going into the playoffs. So tons of quality, tons of balance. This is a strong Cavalry team.
A mix of sun and clouds across Winnipeg. It's mild for this time of year, around 14 Celsius. There is a gusty southwesterly wind blowing across the field from right to left as you look. And Mr. Rudolph gets us underway. The final 90 minutes of the regular season in 2024. And Cavalry, all in white, will attack the goal to your right in this first half. They haven't lost to Valour in their last 4 meetings. In 2024, Cavalry have won 1. They've drawn the other 2. And on their last visit to Winnipeg back in July, they won by a single goal, scored by Fraser Aird, who's scored a couple of goals against the Winnipeggers so far this season. Early touch for Ali Musi, trying to find Warszewski, who gets through a heck of a lot of work. Not necessarily as a traditional number 9, although he can play that role, but watch him rove across that centre of the park in an advanced position. And his accuracy in the last couple of games has been exceptional in terms of the finishing, hasn't it, Ollie? So Valour really have to keep an eye on him.
They do, right in the running for the golden boot today as well.
Looking for Jordan Faria as the ball is across the area, but Faria can't control it, and out of play it goes for a throw to Cavalry, who are starting with their familiar 4-2-3-1 formation. Fraser Aird, having recovered from injury, back in the starting lineup. Rafael O'Heen and the Australian Tas Mordekudas. And Frankie Fashioneri is Mordekudas' central defensive partner. Aird a little over-aggressive on Faria, and the first free kick goes to the home team.
Certainly an area to watch. The Valour left-hand side against the Cavalry right. We know the quality of Musi and Fraser Aird down that wing for Cavalry, but Themi Antonoglu, the Valour left-back, has been their outstanding player this season, and will look to combine with Jordan Faria, who will come inside on his right foot.
Fraser Aird away from the penalty area. Antonoglu lets it run into touch. Former TFC man. In his first season in the Canadian Premier League, no less than 7 assists from that left-back position. Loves to get forward. He leads the league in that particular category. He's really been a real bonus for Valour so far this season. This is Sergio Camargo. And back for Dan Klomp, a tower at the centre of defence for Cavalry this season. Shamit Shone from Brad Camden, who came on as a substitute for the injured Field midway through last week's game against Halifax. Barshevsky already teasing the Valour back line. It's going to find its way to Gutierrez. Thought about it just for a moment, but picks out Aird on this near side. Into the area it goes. Swing and a miss as they try and clear their lines. Herdman battling for it, and it'll find its way to Abdul Benati on that far side, but he's dispossessed, and the white shirts begin to mount another attack.
It's a different looking Valour midfield today. You can see Safwan Mars playing on the right of the midfield 4, but he's tucked in much more than a typical right winger.
Marszewski trying to barrel his way into the penalty area.
And it's just in that moment, a moment ago, it means Dante Campbell drops a bit deeper. They're kind of a little bit on top of each other, and Cavalry played right into the space between them, so something to watch out for.
Camden cushions it back for his captain, Marco Carducci. Under a little bit of pressure, Antonoglu picks up the loose ball. 1-2 with O'Heen, and now for Faria, who scored last weekend. Faria looking for the back post, looking for Sean Hundle. He let it bounce. He'll stay forward on that right-hand side. Dante Campbell can play a variety of positions. We've seen him play fullback. We've seen him play centre midfield. I think he's better as a midfielder, personally. Combative sort of player. Here's Fashioneri. Themi Antonoglu away from Musi. Campbell again. Room on that far side. Hundle making the run, dance over his shoulder. Benati and Safwane Mla in the penalty area, waiting for the service, should it come. Happy to keep the ball for the time being. Mordekudas. Diagonal ball, looking for Faria. Aird keeping him company. Aird wins that particular skirmish. Camargo chests it down, controls it. Then the ball forward, looking for Musi. Fashioneri needs to deal with it and does so. Well, there are all sorts of permutations, aren't there, Ollie, about what might happen here, but what happens here will have an effect on what happens elsewhere as well. We do know that Valour simply has to win. That's the first part of the equation. Hundle is onside, no flag, still Hundle, across the face of goal, Faria trying to get there, and Benati! Fabulous start for the home team, 6 minutes gone, that's the start they wanted. Valour in front, Abdul Benati, the ideal start. and maybe fairy tales do come true. Valour lead Cavalry by a goal to nil.
What a dream start from Valour to get this stadium up and into this game. Sean Hundle, he's got 4 goals in his last 8 games, but it's been a lot of this kind of stuff he's been doing as well that's been so important to Valour's game, the facilitating of his teammates. He puts the ball into a dangerous area. Faria's in the right place to make something of it, and Benate, they took a gamble giving him the start today. Young player still finding his way in the CPL, but he's got real presence in the penalty area. What a start for Valour.
Benate scored against Cavalry the last time they played in a 2-2 draw. He's on target again, the 21-year-old. Warszewski trying to respond. Camargo, Gutierrez, and Fraser Aird. First goal on the final day. Now Musi's got a little bit of room into the penalty area. Trying to get it across. And Viscosi called off his defenders and dove on the ball. Well, CIBC player spotlight. We've mentioned him already. Temi Antonoglu from Toronto. With 7 assists so far this season and a goal as well in his maiden season in the Canadian Premier League. Keep an eye on him, not only defensively but offensively as well. Likes to get forward down the line. That battle between him and Fraser Aird in particular will certainly be worth keeping an eye on, Ollie.
Yeah, well, you're going to see Antonoglu creep up and almost play like a winger at times. It's going to be a good fight to obviously fulfill his defensive responsibilities against a player like Ali Musi, but he knows and Valour know. I think the big challenge for them has been creating chances and scoring goals. Brilliant start to the game in that regards, but Antonoglu is a big part of their creativity in attack.
Benate, goal scorer, 4th goal of the season. He probably hasn't scored a more important one. Just before the build-up to the goal, I was about to go through some of the permutations. First and foremost, Valour have to win. Then, well, I'm sure Ollie can tell you more about it. I know that Pacific have to lose, and they're looking for some help, perhaps from Atletico Ottawa as well, Ollie.
Yeah, it's pretty simple for Valour. They've just got to focus on winning this game today and then hope, obviously, that the other results go their way. Most notably, Pacific have to lose. There's no other alternative way in. But any win and any loss will do it in that regards. And then, obviously, Vancouver away at Atletico Ottawa, a really difficult game for them. As long as they don't win, the Valour win will take them in front of them.
Ollie, by the way, will be keeping an eye on scores elsewhere. And he will let me and let you know as and when the goals go in. Warszewski, wide of Viscosi's far post. First half look at a goal for the big German. But Viscosi not called into action.
You can see the Cavalry right-hand sides getting into the game for the first time. Musi one-on-one, such a dangerous player. Thought this may have taken a deflection, but maybe Warszewski just didn't quite get the contact he wanted.
Just trying to dig it out, wasn't he? And it just flew wide of that far post. Dan Klomp, eager to get on with it, as is Gutierrez, the Cavalry midfielder who's familiar with these surroundings. Spent 4 seasons with Valour before making the move to Calgary. Gutierrez again finds Shome, and they're getting themselves in trouble again. Benate, clear side of goal, and he put it straight at Carducci. He'll be disappointed with that.
What a chance. That chance is why Faria's in the team. We'll see it again in a moment, but Phil Dos Santos loves this guy for his ability to work off the ball as well as his ability on it. Created a massive opportunity for Valour there. That's been a big difficulty for them in recent weeks, is they can get ahead in games. It's killing teams off when they have the opportunity to do so. That's been difficult for them.
Well, they've given themselves a platform, so all credits to Valour. And talking to Phil Dos Santos yesterday, he said we have to come out aggressively from the first minute, take the game to Cavalry, and trust that we have the ability. Late challenge coming in from Dante Campbell on Ali Musi, who stayed down. Campbell's getting a talking to from Mr. Rudolph. Helps his opponent to his feet. But that is the man of the moment, Abdul Binati.
And see Valour pressing Cavalry's attempt to play out the back. Benate's there. Farir's the one who eventually jumps Shamit Shome. And that, I think, there's maybe been some eyebrows raised. Why is Quemi not playing? Why is Reza Reisal not playing? But with Farir and Mla, I think you get two really responsible, hard-working players. And Phil Dos Santos, he wants the foundation in this game to then bring those guys off the bench to make an impact. They've had it so far.
Musi will leave it for Air to float it towards the back post. There's the header, but it's wide. Callum Montgomery scored his first ever goal for Cavalry. The winner indeed against Halifax last weekend. Was tall enough to get his head on it, but couldn't direct it on goal. Not the start Tommy Wheeldon and his coaching staff were hoping for. I think that's probably the understatement of the afternoon.
Well, they're going to know now after this start from Valour that they're playing against a team that's hungry for a result here.
Alar Khan is going to get a yellow card from the referee for wrestling Jay Herdman to the ground. Would have worked on a rugby field, but not in this game.
Good touch from Herdman. He's a tricky technical player. Leaves Alarcon with not a lot of choice but to bring him down deliberately there.
So another free kick in an interesting position for Cavalry as they look to respond to conceding that early goal. Very un-Cavalry-like. They know the worst they can finish is third, but that might be just complicating the playoff picture for them. If they finish second to the regular season champions Forge, they know they get at least 2 bites of the cherry. Third is a different kettle of fish altogether. They are in a straight race with Atletico Ottawa for that runner-up position in the regular season. Here's Ali Musi turning and passing and finding Vashevsky, who in turn finds Aird. Faria is alert, and Rafa O'Heen will use this quick feet to bring it away. Got fouled as he was in full flight. So quarter of an hour gone on the final day of the regular season. It is the outcome. And by the end of the afternoon, everybody will know where they finish and what is ahead for 5 and what planning there needs to be done for the other 3. All we know so far is that Halifax Wanderers are eliminated from playoff contention. We also know that Forge, as we mentioned, are the CPL regular season champions. And we know that York United will finish 4th. Everything else still up for grabs, Ollie.
Very much so, and would have loved to have seen Halifax playing at the Wanderers grounds and still alive, chasing that 5th and final playoff spot as well. But that aside, couldn't ask for much better than this. Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. here, Central Time. It's what we're used to.
It certainly is. When I was a lad, everything kicked off at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It's not quite like that anymore. But a little bit of a blast from the past. Well, credit to Valour. They've made a bright start. They've been rewarded with that early goal. They could be 2 up. Now, of course, they've got to keep it up for the next 75 minutes or so. Haven't beaten Cavalry in 3 previous attempts this season. But all that will be forgotten if they nail on 3 points by the end of the afternoon. Camden. Plump with Hundle in his way as he looked square. Ball played over the top now. Antonoglu out of position, and Musi and Varshevsky. Musi trying to get it on his left foot, loves to curl one from this sort of range. Did well to keep his feet there. Aired there in support. Musi again. Sergio Camargo keeps it going. Musi, well done Antonoglu, followed the ball and diverted it behind for a corner.
Well defended from Valour there. The ball just skipped up on Antonoglu, went over his heads, but you could see the support from Ohin, from Faria, got numbers around Ali Musi straight away.
Ali Musi for Fraser Aird. That took a little deflection as well, and it's still alive. I think the last touch indeed came off Fraser Aird, and the danger passes for the time being. Goal kick.
Would like to see them be a bit more decisive. The relationship between the goalkeeper and the centre-backs in those moments. There was one last weekend at Vancouver that maybe just unsettled them a little bit, just very shortly, a few minutes before they conceded the equalising goal.
Viscosi long, looking for Benate. It's going to find its way to Varshevsky. Benate back, trying to do some defending. Gutierrez. Square ball will find Aird in some space. Musi just had to delay his run a moment, or he'd have been offside. Now Musi picks it up. Aird again chips it over the top. Musi trying to take it in stride. Musi on the deck. Referee, no whistle. Play goes on. No foul. Now is Ohin going to play on? No, he's going to play it out. That's sporting from the Valour captain. And Musi might need some treatment here. There wasn't a whistle, and Ohin was perfectly entitled to carry on.
He's taken a couple of collisions already, Ali Musi. I think it's honest enough from Rafa Ohin going for the ball there, but maybe just clips him.
Musi is happily back on his feet. And ready to continue. Musi, who emigrated as a very young boy from Somalia to Canada and to Winnipeg in particular. That's where he learned to play football as a Valour player back in season 1 of the CPL. But now he's all Cavalry. Safwani Mala, that right-hand side. No Valour jerseys in the penalty area, so no pressure on Carducci, who is hoping for his 9th clean sheet of the season today, but it's not going to happen. Leads the CPL in shutouts this season with 8. Montgomery for Camden, and back for the captain. Plump with Faria closing in. Gutierrez meant for Varshevsky, ran all the way through to Fashionary, who finds Mordakutas and Alarcon. No news of any goals elsewhere on this final day of the regular season. 4 matches, all in progress at the same time. Dante Campbell was late on Gutierrez, and the yellow card's coming out again. And I don't think Dante Campbell can have too many complaints about the caution.
No, I think he's probably a little fortunate He argued the last one, but I thought he came flying in a little bit recklessly, and certainly with that one back-to-back after the first, there's no question you're going to get booked for that, and he'll have to be careful now. Dante Campbell, combative player.
Yeah. Gutierrez is back on his feet. Campbell contemplates his 10th yellow card of the season. By the way, on the subject of discipline, we ought to say that any yellow cards that otherwise would lead to an accumulation suspension will not count today. Yellow cards are wiped for teams going into the playoffs, so not too much of a concern. But as you just say, Campbell is that combative sort of player. Joins Alarcon in the referee's notebook. Just one other note on cards. Red cards today would carry over. I was checking my facts just yesterday, so if anybody gets their marching orders, then a suspension would be forthcoming. Hope that's clear for you. Free kick to Valour. Roberto Alarcon, former Cavalry player, trots forward and leaves it for Mordekudas. Just past the midway points of the first half. Mordekudas looking for Hundle. Camden underneath it. Jay Herdman battling, using his body well. Camden looking up the line. Camargo gives chase. It runs for Musi. Turning, finding Aird. Camargo and Varshevsky furthest forward. Plump square for Montgomery. And further left for Camden. Herdman came and offered himself. Camden ignored him. Plump will find Aird on this near side. Camargo, that was the intention, but Fashionary read it and intervened. Shamit Chom, his usual defensive midfield role. Not one of the stars of the team necessarily shown, but does a lot of the dirty work in the engine room, protecting the back four. Benati needs an option here. Faria offered one. Benati turned his back on him, but finds Alarcon on the other side. I must say, Ollie, Valour are looking confident. They're looking happy in possession of the ball. They've come with a mission, and you've got to say, so far so good.
Absolutely. I think Cavalry have played okay. They've knocked the ball around, but frankly, so far, one team has looked like they really want to win this game today and are really playing for something. And maybe it's just that little bit easier to really motivate yourself when your playoff berth is on the line as opposed to playoff positioning.
This time Campbell is fouled by Jay Herdman. And if the surname sounds familiar, you'd be absolutely right. Son of the former Canadian national team, both women's and men's team. Now in charge of Toronto FC in Major League Soccer, Jay Herdman, 20-year-old son of John. On loan from the Whitecaps 2 organization. Five Valour players on or about the edge of the penalty area, waiting for the delivery. Alarcon, right-footed, swings it in. Fashionary trying to get there. Mordekudas, and safe hands from Carducci. Aird in the other direction for Cavalry, looking to get back on terms. Musi was ahead of him. Still there. The Cavalry go left with Montgomery and Camden. Gutierrez, former Valour player, for Aird. Musi over his head. And Musi might get a second chance here. and indeed has won the corner. That seemed bound for the goalkeeper, and they made a little bit of a meal defensively of it.
Yeah, they just still weren't, well, they were having to reorganize. Antonoglu still hadn't got back from the set piece to his left back position. Cavalry get a set piece out of it.
So Musi with 4 assists so far this season. He can score them, he can make them. Musi, plenty of air underneath it, towards the back post. Camden with the header. Warszawski, that's clever. Straight into the midriff of Viscosi. He doesn't waste time deciding what he's going to do. Warszawski. Bit of improvisation. It'll go down as a shot on target. It was comfortable for Viscosi. But Benati, his goal after 6 minutes, is the one that separates Valour on the final day of the regular season, on a day they absolutely have to win. Anything else and they will be eliminated. Even if they win, it may not be enough. But for the time being, the dream is still alive, very much alive. Started the day in 7th place. But by the end of play, they could be, it's a big could, but they could be in the top 5.
Still goalless at Pacific and goalless in Ottawa. York leading in Halifax, but no bearing there.
Yeah, Cavalry looking to find that equaliser. They got themselves a corner off Antonoglu. Just get the feeling that Cavalry are beginning to warm to their task after the shock of losing that early goal inside the first 6 minutes.
They've settled into it, and such a good team in terms of how they move the pieces around and kind of manipulate the defence. Warszawski's integral to that with his ability to float off the front.
Klomp is also a danger at set pieces. 6 goals for him this season. Musi, flatter delivery this time. It's going back to Musi, who did not keep it in. Just gone beyond the goal line by the time he made contact. And a goal kick to the home team. Ali Musi, the 2023 Player of the Year in the Canadian Premier League. This season his campaign has been somewhat delayed by a lengthy injury, but he still ended up with 4 goals and 4 assists coming into this game. Quite a spell on the sidelines, and they welcomed him back with open arms, as you can imagine. Such a dangerous customer. Here's Montgomery for Klomp. Montgomery for Camden. That's something that Phil Dos Santos was talking to me about yesterday. He said he wanted that high press from his players to hurry the defenders. Coming together, referee's going to play the advantage. Warszawski picks himself up after tangling with Antonoglu. Warszawski loves to pull the trigger. Went down, no whistle, not too many protests. It was a clean and important defensive tackle. Now Jordan Freer's got a bit of little room. Everything to his right. He's got to wait for the Cavalry to arrive. Antonoglu. That's the sort of position he likes to curl those left balls in. Freer goes himself. Important header from Klomp. Campbell picks up the loose ball, trying to find Benati. Turned it over again. Antonoglu thought about it momentarily, right-footed this time, and it's comfortable for Carducci. Not his favourite foot, Antonoglu, but he had the confidence to take the shot on. To the delight of the fans gathered here at Princess Auto Stadium. Sunny fall day. We've been fortunate with the weather. Klomp. back for his captain and goalkeeper. Camden thought about chipping it up the line, decided on safety first. Gutierrez finds Aird, who returns the favour. Shevsky trying to turn the corner, Antonoglu a little over-vigorous. Cavalry free kick.
Yeah, Antonoglu just getting across Warshevsky a little bit too much before the ball.
Antonoglu's appeals were that he'd done nothing wrong. Didn't necessarily take the ball, but he didn't think he took the man. Anyway, on we go. Shkevsky against Antonoglu again, goes over. Referee, no whistle. On we go. O'Heen looking for the counter-attack, looking for Mla. Herdman for Cavalry. He's got good speed. Mla takes him down unceremoniously. And it's another yellow card for Valour. That's 3 in the first 32 minutes. Sefwani Mla on Herdman joins Campbell and Alarcon in the referee's notebook.
Late challenge from Mla after a good spin from Herdman, and I'm afraid it's not the only bad news for Valour, because Dario Zanata's given Pacific the leads against Forge.
So just confirming, Pacific leading against Forge. And if that were to stand, there's nothing Valour can do about it. But there's a long, long way to go. Gutierrez sweeps it into the area, dangerous. Who's it going to fall for? Musi trying to get there. Mla heads it away. Only as far as Aird. Plenty still forward in white. Remember, Valour have to win this, and Pacific have to lose for Valour to have any chance of finishing in the top 5. But Valour don't have time for scoreboard watching. They've just got to concentrate on what they can control. Clombs square for Montgomery. Herdman wants it. Camargo has it. Campbell in the way. Camargo a second time. Takes a tumble. Herdman picks it up. Doesn't keep his feet. Warshevsky trying to shuffle it along to Musi. Benati. And Alarcon dove in, didn't make contact with the ball or the man. Fascineri had to deal with that, came at him at an awkward height. Hundle. And Musi can start again for the Cavs. Warshevsky, edge of the area, down goes the German again. Again, no response from the referee. Faria for Antonoglu. In quickly with Shome and Gutierrez. And Shome again, the Edmontonian.
Defending well, Valour, but just struggling to relieve the pressure. Trying to bring Hondo and Benate into the game, but it's been infrequent in the last 10 minutes or so.
Morikudas clears out to halfway. Gutierrez for Klomp. Camden's got a little bit of room. Has Herdman to his left. Not for the first time. Completely ignored. Now he'll get it. Here's Herdman, born in New Zealand. And his dad was coaching out there many years ago. Klomp doesn't want to force the issue. Aird has a little bit of room to roam. Combining firstly with Musi, now Warshevsky. It's going to be a Cavalry throw, level with the edge of the penalty area. Warszewski one behind Del Campo of Atletico Ottawa in the race for the Golden Boot, which will be decided at the end of this afternoon's game. Regular season games are the only ones that count in that category. Warszewski trying to turn provider. Again, the defence was not convincing. Cavalry can build again with Aird. Man down in the penalty area. It's Camargo, I believe, now up on his feet. And that is going to run out of play, and Camargo may have a problem. He's gone down again, touching his left ankle. He doesn't look particularly comfortable. Well, Camargo's back on his feet. Here's what happened. Warszewski away from Antonoglu, looking to provide the service into the box. And that was the challenge from Fashioneri on Camargo.
I don't know, Nigel. I thought Fashioneri was very fortunate. There wasn't a lot of appeals from Cavalry, but
you took the words absolutely out of my mouth. Looking at the replay, which, by the way, we should say the referee does not get the benefit of in the Canadian Premier League. No VAR, and he can only give what he sees, or on occasion what his assistants alert him to. But no penalty, and no great damage to Camargo. Aird overran it. Fashioneri takes over. Ball stayed in play. Faria trying to get there. Gutierrez slid in. Yeah, I wouldn't mind another look at that coming together in the penalty area. Phil Dos Santos trying to get his point across. I know we both spoke to him yesterday, the Valour coach, and the one thing that came out of the conversation I had him was, well, you know what, crazier things have happened in this game in terms of what yet might be achieved. And he's not wrong. I mean, we've seen some really strange things happen. That's why we watch. He knows his team need to win, which is what they're doing. He knows he needs help from at least two other teams. It's mission improbable, I guess you should say.
yeah, I think that's about right. He can, I think, take some satisfaction, whatever happens today, with the way this team has grown over the course of the year. Just see if they can keep this group together into next season and continue to build on that, because I think there are some good players in this team, and they've started to show it over the past 2 or 3 months.
More pressure from Hundle on Carducci. Shamit Shom's got a little bit of roam. Strides forward, finds Warszewski accurately, looking to turn. Now Musi takes over. Warszewski continues his run. Camargo towards the edge of the penalty area. Looks like he's moving comfortably now. Camden. Herdman. Gutierrez for Shom. Musi and Warszewski just on top of the box, waiting for the service. They may have to wait a while. Klomp. Camargo ran into Benati. O'Heen gave it away to Shom. Warszewski turning, will pull the trigger. Took a slight deflection. Wasn't held by Viscosi. It's going to be a corner. Warszewski does not need an invitation to shoot.
He doesn't, and he strikes the ball so well from those positions. Credit to Shamit Shom. I think he's having a really good game in midfield, particularly when it comes to snuffing out Valour's attempts to counter-attack. He did it there and set the chance away at the other end.
So more organisation for Viscosi. And those in gold and black, Valour. As Musi delivers, it's got curl on it. They need to get it free. Do so temporarily. As far as Shom again. Plenty still forward in white. Viscosi comes and collects. Fell slightly awkwardly. But you know what they say about goalkeepers. If you're going to come off your line, you better make sure you get something on it. And Viscosi had to come through traffic to claim it. He's searching for his 5th clean sheet of the season, by the way, the Valour goalkeeper. So far his goal is intact. Now can he get them to half-time? Another clumsy challenge in midfield. Shown will maybe have a word with the referee.
Shom's been very active on these types of balls. He's claiming he got the ball through the legs. I don't think he did, and regardless, he's come through Campbell. Valour arguing if Dance's was a yellow, maybe that one is too.
Referee keeps his cards in his pocket for the time being. But Shom has had a lecture. Let's put it that way. Alarcon, Moricudas. It's the Spanish right back who takes it, is trying to find Faria. Ed's doing his due diligence defensively. Focus, focus, says the Valour coach. He would love to see them at half-time, a goal to the good. Pick from Fashionary on Waszewski, right down below us here. I heard it from right up here in the stands.
It's boot on shin pad.
So a couple of minutes to half-time. Can Cavalry counter that fast start by Valour and find an equaliser before the interval? They don't necessarily have to win, Cavalry, to finish in second place, but if they don't, it's contingent on what happens in Ottawa. That game, as far as we know, still goalless. And that would be enough if Atletico Ottawa don't win. Started the day 2 points behind Cavalry in 3rd place. As all these matches head towards half-time, just the one goal here. And the goal in Langford, where Pacific lead forged by a goal to nil. Be a Cavalry throw. That's the indication from the referee. Ed picks it up. Faria keeping him honest. Fashionary pokes it away. Only as far as Klomp. Antonoglu a chance to clear. Finds Hundle. Turns quickly. Benatti ahead of him. Just moments remaining in this first half. And there'll be 1 minute of additional time at the end of this first half. Brought to you by Burnbrae Farms. Former Valour player Gutierrez, but on the losing side for the time being. Ed will take the free kick. Plenty forward. This will be the last opportunity offensively for Cavalry in the first half, in which they've created a couple of half chances. Herman's come over to this near side, swings it towards the back post. Possibilities here. It's still pinging round inside the 6-yard box, and they managed to scramble it away. And Mr. Rudolph blows his whistle for half-time. The first half punctuated early on, after 6 minutes, by Abdul Benatti, who took his chance with aplomb, an opportunistic goal after just 6 minutes, and it is his goal that separates Valour. Desperate for a win against Cavalry. That's all they can do. They're 45 minutes away from beating the Cavs for the first time this season. Half-time in Winnipeg. It's Valour 1, Cavalry 0.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Sure. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica, then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
This one is for you.
Always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Soccer is in our hearts. Our roots are on display. Not to divide, but to unite. Because to us, soccer's more than just a game. It's who we are. From coast to coast to coast, it connects us all. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
tonybet, bet.
At tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with
tonybet, bet.
A warm welcome back to Winnipeg on the final day of the regular season. 2024 Canadian Premier League. Everything has to be sorted out today. 5 teams will make the 3 playoffs. 3 of them will reconsider and restructure for 2026. It's a mild autumnal day at Princess Auto Stadium. And let's walk you through some of those highlights in the first half. On a day when Valour absolutely have to win, and they knew it from the word go, and they attacked almost from the word go. And Khan and Hundle, just the opening goal in the fall for Abdul Benati, spinning, turning, scoring in 6 minutes.
Yeah, Valour coming straight out of the blocks, showing their intent to win this game and do everything that they can to finish in that 5th and final playoff spot, and Sean Hundle instrumental in Benate's goal.
Ali Musi probing, Vashevsky taking it first time. They were nearly caught out again defensively. Benati with another opportunity to strike, this time straight at Carducci.
Big chance for Valour, and you just wonder if that's a moment we'll look back on later in this game as Cavalry grow into it and had more chances towards the end of the first half.
The other end, Musi with the corner, improvisation from Vashevsky as Cavalry looked for that equalizing goal. They had a couple of looks, but nothing clear-cut for Cavalry as the half wore on. And Valour have done themselves a power of good. They've done all they can in the first 45 minutes. Let's have a look at the half-time stats. The one that really counts is the one at the top of your screen. And it's Valour leading by 1-0. And they lead Cavalry in terms of shots on target. Cavs have had the lion's share of possession, but you've got to credit Valour with making a really good fist of this.
Yeah, I think they've largely defended well. There hasn't been too many really big moments where Jonathan Viscosi has had to make difficult saves. I think he's done what you'd expect of him for the most part so far. So there's been a few nervy moments for Valour, but overall they're handling this game fairly well so far.
4 corners for Cavalry have yet to yield a goal. Alarcon, Campbell and Mla in the book for Valour. Time for our half-time feature, which focuses on the former Forge and now Canadian men's national team player, Quacy Poku.
Obviously, it's been really good so far. It's been a dream to get the call-up. I think it's something that every kid dreams of, and I'm just really proud to be here. I'm soaking everything in and I'm learning a lot. Canada is my home. I'm happy to be back as I'm living in Belgium now, and I feel at home with the guys. Everybody was really warm and they're welcoming, and on and off the field, everything has been great. I think this whole year itself has been really crazy for me and really fast. I haven't really got time to sit down and really think about, you know, all the achievements that have happened for me this year, but yeah, looking back on it, it's been a really crazy year. I'm still settling in. It's a bit different. Obviously the culture, just everything on the field, off the field. It's been a bit of time to get used to it, but I'm getting there. I feel really comfortable. I feel like I joined a team that directly had plans for me to be an important player right away, and that's exactly what I wanted. I traveled overseas not to sit on the bench, but to be on a team that I could play for, to be on a team that had plans for me and a team that I could make an impact for right away. And I feel like I found that, and I'm really enjoying my football right now. Yeah, just soaking in everything, learning, seeing their habits, seeing how they train and what they work on to get to the highest level. Obviously that's something I want to reach as well, so kind of just mimicking what they do and just taking advice from them has been really important for me, and I'm going to take it wherever I go. I think that comes from just maybe watching football, growing up as an attacker, always looking up to strikers growing up. I never really looked up to anyone in the back line growing up. It was always strikers, always forwards. I always wanted to be like them. Movement is the most important thing because it sets you up for your goals, right? If you don't move, you won't get a good shot, right? So it's about that counter movement that gives you that split second to be able to take the best shot possible, and that's what I like to focus on when I'm making my runs. I think the most important thing when you are in a goal-scoring area is to do the first thing that comes to your mind. When you think about, oh, should I go here or should I go near post, far post, whatever it may be, that's when you mess up, right? You have to think with your instinct, and you have to just go with that. The CPL helped me in every way. I think it added a lot of professionalism to my game. Obviously, previously, before I joined the CPL, I wasn't in a professional environment or a consistent professional environment. And just having that professionalism, that men's football is very important for people who are young. Being exposed to what it's like to, you know, when you win, there's a lot at stake. So it just gave me a lot of responsibility early on, and it really helped me with just the tactical side, professional side, on the field, off the field. So the CPL has just really been great for me.
In for Quacy Poku, and that's an excellent finish. Quacy Poku, who's no longer a new number 9, he's one of the best number 9s in the Canadian Premier League.
I didn't have time to waste it all going to Forge. I think that winning was in the identity of Forge. So right away I kind of picked up on that, you know, we're in this league to win it. I had to keep my standard at a high level every day, which, like I said, helped me. It was a surprise for a lot of people, but it wasn't a surprise for me. I know that Coach Bobby was aware of my abilities in front of goal, as he sees it in training every day. So when our strikers got hurt and the option was to put me at striker, I wasn't very surprised. I was ready, I was focused, and it worked out and got me here today. So.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Oh, Carol, always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Just after 4 p.m. in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada Central, you might say. It is the last day. It's the last half of the final game of the 2024 Canadian Premier League season. In the sunshine and a bit of a stiff breeze as well. Welcome back to Princess Auto Stadium. Valour FC against Cavalry FC. Abdul Benati, graduate of the CF Montreal Academy, grabbing the spotlight early in the game. Opportunist spin and strike and goal for Benati. And that goal has taken Valour FC to a half-time lead over Cavalry, who hope to finish second in 45 minutes' time. Wonder what Tommy Wheeldon Jr. said to his players at half-time. Reminder of what's at stake here. Jussi Rudolph making sure we're all present and correct. Valour have to win, and then they have to have Pacific lose, and then they have Vancouver not to win. It's a tall order, but it is doable, and all Vancouver, beg your pardon, all that Valour can do is win this game, and that's what they're doing after 45 minutes. In the black and gold strip, attacking the goal to your left, to your right, in this second half against the all-whites of Cavalry. who know a victory, if they can turn this round in the second half, will guarantee second place behind Forge after the completion of 28 games. Mla won't be able to gather that in. A little overhit from Tas Morakudas, the free kick. Well, Oliver Platt, what did Phil Dos Santos, put yourself in his shoes in the home dressing room at half-time, what would you have said to your players?
I think he has to encourage his team to be brave here. I know maybe the inclination would be, we've got our goal, let's sit on it and try and defend this and grind something out, but this is a team that struggled to do that, quite frankly, over the course of the CPL season. More points struck from winning positions than any other sides. I think they've got to be aggressive and try and get a second goal to make this scoreline more comfortable.
Wise words indeed. Jay Herdman into the area, trying to find a way around Alarcon, who stuck to his guns, had to turn at the expense of a corner. Fraser Aird across to the quadrant on this near side, down below us as Ali Musi. If he decides to go short, he doesn't. Viscosi comes and punches out of the area as far as Gutierrez. Back into the mixer it goes, across everybody's head, and it'll run harmlessly behind for a goal kick. Viscosi is halfway towards his 5th shutout of the season. Big man from Ottawa. That's a little short. Herdman pounced on it. Camargo stays onside. Herdman again, infield, Gutierrez. Warszewski back to goal. Nutmegs the referee. Camargo again, left-footed into the area this time. O'Heen, swing and a miss. Warszewski right behind him, and the Valour captain will get a second chance, and he should be mighty grateful he did.
It's a great chance, a counter-attack there for Valour off of that Cavalry opportunity. Hundle just couldn't wrap that ball around to Faria. He was almost playing in on Carducci.
Marco Carducci, twice the Golden Glove winner in the previous 5 seasons of the CPL. I would imagine he'll be among the nominees again in 2024. And Tonoglu with Warszewski all over him. And the German is a little too over-ambitious. Can't win it from behind. Directing operations. You know what, Phil Dos Santos has been telling me for a month that he absolutely believes that his team can make the playoffs for the first time ever in franchise history. There's absolutely no doubt in his mind that his team has what it takes. And you've spoken about the fact, the restructuring at the start of the season, the laying of the new surface here in Winnipeg, which took Valour on the road, was it 7 games to start the season, all of them on the road, and that was a tall order. But as the season has gone on, they've become a more compact team. Those new players have got used to each other. They've become harder to beat, Ollie, simple as that.
They have, and one thing I've been really impressed by with Phil Dos Santos is that he just doesn't make any excuses or give his team any excuses. And you know, there's been a lot of questions around Valour and the lack of success over the years, and if you ask him where they can get better as a club, he'll tell you. But day to day, he says, I have everything I need here.
Camargo for Herdman. Herdman trying to curl one. Corner is the verdict. Viscosi got a fingertip on it. He's appealing to the referee, he didn't touch it. But it was a smart save. It is a corner.
Just saw Herdman shift out onto his right foot, open up. Thought for a second it could be headed for the far corner.
It was curling, and Viscosi on second look did just get a fingertip on it to help it round the post. Herdman scampers after it. Gutierrez takes over square for Alarcon into the area. Klomp is well up, got his head on it, but couldn't direct it back on net. For a defender, he's a pretty good goal scorer, Dan Klomp. 6 goals on the campaign. Antonoglu from Fashionary. Faria. By the way, no changes at either side of the field at half-time, no substitutes used. Alarcon for Murakudas. The Spaniard again. Late challenge. And the Sydney-born Murakudas, formerly of York United, for Fashionary. Alarcon, watched by Herdman, took a deflection off the New Zealander. Valour trying to keep it going. Camden trying to take it in stride. Bernati wide as well, twisting and turning, trying to buy himself a little bit of time and room. O'Heen rather telegraphed that, and the break could be on here. Warszewski one-on-one. Warszewski could be in behind, and in the end, an important intervention from Murakudas, who may have hurt himself in the process to deny the German. It was a foot race between 2 big men, but the Australian did just enough to deny Warszewski.
Well, Musi, after turning this ball over, couldn't have put it in a much better place for Warszewski to run onto. Just looks up, picks him out. Murakutas looked like he was fighting a losing battle for a long time there, just gets the leg out, and you fear in the process he might have hyperextended it.
That's exactly what's going through my mind. Bill Dos Santos and his coaching staff on their feet down below us, waiting to see whether Murakudas will be able to continue as he receives medical treatment. He was certainly stretching out at every limb and sinew to stop Warszewski, which he managed to do successfully, but at what cost? There's Murakudas still on the deck. Warszewski looks on. Sometimes as a defender, you just have to put your body on the line. Well, the obvious replacement would be Haris Hansopoulos, the big Greek defender, who is on the bench. Would be a like-for-like centre-back replacement. But the medical examination continues. Well, that doesn't look particularly optimistic.
Would be a big loss for Valour. He's been a massive player for them at the back, and maybe a goal-saving challenge there. We'll see if he can walk or run it off.
He's being helped over to the near touchline, but there is a significant limp, isn't there? So Valour going to be forced to make a change defensively here. It was a valiant effort and a successful one from Murakudas to stop Warszewski, who's a big, strong man. So temporarily, Valour will play on with 10, as Murakudas is evaluated more on the touchline, down beside me here. Can they patch him up? Can they get him back on? They can only wait for so long before they'll have to make a change. And play goes on. The white shirts with a man advantage for the time being. Warszewski turned into Fashionary. All the way back for Viscosi. Shome hoists it as far as Alarcon. Bernati looking to get away from Camden and from Herdman. Clever touch from Gutierrez to send Shome away. And Musi back for Shome. Aids on the far side. 4 in the area, including Musi. Looking for the equaliser. It was a flash header across the face of goal. But a big save, I think, by Viscosi. It was Sergio Camargo, got his head on it from 6 yards out. And Mordakudas is back on the field.
Mordakudas going to give it a go here. It still doesn't look great, but this was a huge moment for Jonathan Viscosi. Camargo sends that towards the far corner. He pushes away.
Still in the area from the corner. Vashevsky! That's why he's a nominee for the CPL's Golden Boots. One touch on the volley and hammers it into the back of the nets. Toby Vashevsky, goal number 11 of the season. It's 1-1 in Winnipeg.
Valour just needing to see out a period of pressure here, a period of adversity with Mordakutas going off. And they can't convincingly clear this corner kick. It's been a little bit haphazard all day from the set pieces. This time Washevsky punishes them to take the joint lead for the Golden Boot.
11 goals on the season. And 4 goals in his last 3 appearances. He is catching fire at just the right time. If you're a Cavalry fan, he'd gone through a little bit of a goal drought, but he is back, and he is back with a bang. Toby Vashevsky had no hesitation about pulling the trigger on the volley and blasted it into the back of the net. No chance for Viscosi, and we're all tied up in Winnipeg.
What an X factor for Cavalry. He could be going into the playoffs. Forge had Quacy Poku for a period.
Yeah.
Del Campo's called off for Ottawa. Now this guy is the main man in the CPL.
Here he is again, Vashevsky, full of running away from O'Heen. Did well to just keep his feet. Camargo, who almost scored himself moments before the equaliser, aired. Now Musi. Vashevsky wants it again. Over his head. And it's going to drift behind for another corner. But the man of the moment, Cavalry number 9, Toby Vashevsky. We were talking, weren't we, just before the game, off camera to Tommy Wheeldon Jr., and I remarked on the accuracy and the precision of his finishing in recent weeks, and there's another prime example right there.
Yeah, not an easy one to control, but he did it brilliantly. Gave Viscosi no chance.
Ed will take the corner. Musi is short for him if he wishes to change the angle. Approaching the hour in Winnipeg. Draws no good for Valour. Ed looking for Vashevsky at the back post. Mla wins it, but it'll be a Cavalry ball on that far side. Vashevsky not wasting any time. Can he turn provider as well? Ed's now back in position, having taken the corner on this near side. Camden for Herdman. Montgomery. Looking again for Vashevsky. He won't catch that one. Proving that he's only human. Viscosi will not notch up his 5th clean sheet of the season. No chance of getting to the shot from Vashevsky on the volley. Edge of the area. Fast and powerful and accurately into the top corner. Faria on the counter-attack for Valour. Benati. His goal cancelled out finally by Cavalry, who threatened towards the end of the first half. Now they've got their reward from this man again, Vasilevsky. And Fashionary forced to just put it into touch on that far side. Under pressure from the German. He gets through a heck of a lot of work. He's got a great engine. Good feet for a tall man. But his work rate is excellent, Vasilevsky. Here's Camargo. Gomery. And back for Klomp.
Phil Dos Santos just had a long conversation with his assistants, Jay Bindi and Daryl Fordyce, and I think you're going to see the two subs you'd expect to see, Loic Quacy and Diogo Resurrecao, pretty imminently here for Valour.
Well, they need fresh legs, fresh ideas up front. Resurrecao, Quacy can certainly provide that. Mordakudas, knee bandaged. I'm not sure we thought we'd see him back on the field after that heroic defending against Vasilevsky 10 minutes ago. But he seems to be moving relatively freely. Antonoglu thought he'd won it, but the assistant on that far side disagrees. So Fraser Ed picks up the ball, finds Shome. Moussi, clever turn, likes to pull the trigger. It's always rising. Took it on from fully 25, 26 yards, Ali Moussi, but couldn't keep it under Viscosi's crossbar.
See Viscosi dealing with the sun shining right in his eyes. We get another look at it here on the goal.
And bang.
Not a lot you could have done with that one, sun or no sun, I don't think.
You'd have needed a couple of goalkeepers to stop that one. Gutierrez against his old team. Took a deflection, it'll still find its way to Herdman. Shome on the overlap, looking towards the back post. Moussi couldn't quite get there. Thought he was fouled. Referee not interested. Moussi's on the deck, and Mordakudas is down again. And we were just remarking a moment ago that he seemed to be moving comfortably. But he is on the deck a second time, having had that knee bandaged up. And I don't think he's going to be able to continue. I think the body language tells you all you need to know, Ollie.
It looked like a reach at the time when he came back on, that he was going to be able to get through much more here, and I think Valour are going to have to reorganize the subs. They're going to bring the same two players on, but I'd expect Dante Campbell's going to have to drop back into defence now.
Well, that's one way of doing it. Campbell can play as a defender. We've seen him do it. So here are the changes that you mentioned as Tas Mordakudas cuts a lonely and frustrated figure. He walks away from the action. So Diogo Resurrecao and Loic Quacy are called upon.
Also leading the match is number 17, Jordan Faria.
And Jordan Faria is replaced on the wing. Resurrecao in particular has caught the eye in front of goal this season. 3 goals and a couple of assists as well. Clever, skillful Portuguese attacking midfielder. You're absolutely right, Dante Campbell appears to have dropped back into that back line. And more defending for Valour to do. Reminding you that this is a scoreline that doesn't really suit either team, certainly doesn't suit Valour. It's win or bust as far as they're concerned, plus some helpful results elsewhere. Cavalry, a point might be enough to secure second place and to cruise into the playoffs. And the first dates with Forge FC in Hamilton. Herdman, Alarcon, Curaçao, first touch for the substitute, trying to barrel his way forward. Gutierrez giving as good as he gets. Referee finally blows his whistle. It's going to be a Valour free kick in an interesting position. 6, 7, 8 yards outside the penalty area. Shamit Shome making his appeals to the referee, who doesn't want to hear them.
It's an almost perfect position, this, for a right-footed free kick taker. Jordan Swibble scored one for Valour from further out earlier this season. He's still on the bench right now.
We may see him in the latter stages. Coaching staff trying to decide what the best course of option is. Antonoglu is interested. He'd provide the left foot option, and Roberto Alarcon has spotted the ball down. He's the right foot option. Four in the wall. Can Alarcon beat them all and put Valour back in front? Just a little too high from the Spaniard. Got it over the wall, but couldn't get it down in time.
Decent effort from Alarcon. He's a very good indirect set-piece taker. I haven't seen him take many direct free kicks, but he wasn't a million miles away.
Carducci and Cavalry can breathe again. Herdman trying to bring in Waszewski. Alarcon at the other end of the field doing his defensive duties. Fascineri. Antonoglu helps it on. Curaçao, a willing runner. Gutierrez gets in the way. And the white jerseys of Cavalry pour forward again. Looking for the go-ahead goal. Musi stayed onside, trying to get it on his left foot. Klomp with plenty ahead of him. Valour ball. Couple of changes for Cavalry. Charlie Trafford and Noel Wright on their way. Wright, pretty much an out-and-out striker. Charlie Trafford can operate as a central midfielder. Jay Herdman's work for the day is done. And Diego Gutierrez also takes a seat in midfield. So like-for-like change in terms of Trafford for Gutierrez.
Yeah, Waszewski will go out to the left where Herdman was playing. Charlie Trafford's a big player for them, but he just had a horrendous time this year with injuries, trying to get himself right for the playoffs.
Camargo cushions it for Camden. Further back for Montgomery. Camargo again. Waszewski got a push in the back, which wasn't seen. Referee plays the advantage, right, trying to latch on to the forward ball. Valour throw-in midway inside their own half of the field. They have another stoppage here. Benati might need some attention. They've already been forced to make one substitution. Here's what happened. Benati and Klomp coming together. Benati came off worst. Clean header from the Dutchman. Or so it appeared, but he caught Benati, who is happily back on his feet.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
"20 minutes to go or thereabouts in Winnipeg. Deadlocked, one apiece between Valour FC and Cavalry FC. Benati after 6 minutes for the home team, who got a flying start that they needed. But Waszewski with a smart volley. 11 minutes into the second half, tied it up. His 11th goal of the season. He's now tied up with Ruben Del Campo of Atletico Ottawa in the race for the Golden Boot, which will be decided after these final round of matches. 11 apiece between Waszewski and Del Campo. And as I mentioned, 4 in his last 3 appearances for the German. Here's Charlie Trafford, the substitute, trying to get away from Alarcon, and now O'Heen, and has won himself a free kick just outside the area. It's far enough out. It's one of those, isn't it, Ollie, where there's room enough to get it up and over the wall, which inevitably will be formed, I'm sure.
There's definitely room when you're tied for the Golden Boot lead. I think there's one man who stepped right over this.
He's not interested in Fraser Aird being there, or Shamit Shom. Well, Waszewski says, you know what, I'm going to take this. 4 men in the wall. For Valour, can he beat them all? And the goalkeeper, side netting, holds his head in his hands, Waszewski. It wasn't that far wide. Antonoglu for Valour, trying to get the home team going. Get them back in front, win their final game of the season. That's how close it was. Viscosi saw it. I think he was comfortable. It was always curling wide. Jordy Swivel is on the way momentarily. He's ready for action down below us. But that substitution won't happen until there is a stoppage in play. Camden for Camargo. Wright makes his run up this near side. Waszewski's square. Change will take place now. Sean Hundle is being sacrificed. So striker for striker. Both started the day with 7 goals. Hundle's off. Jordy Swivel, the Australian, is on. Quacy giving chase, but outnumbered by the white jerseys. Waszewski. Glance over his shoulder to see who was there. There wasn't anybody, so he decided to take it on himself. Head on the far side, Shom. Quick to react. Montgomery not taking any chances with Quacy at close quarters. Fans would love to see another goal for the home team. It might just give them a ghost of a chance of making the playoffs for the first time ever. But they need help from elsewhere. That help doesn't appear to be forthcoming as of yet. Waszewski makes his way forward. It's going to be a cavalry ball on that far side. Fraser Aird trotting over to attend to it. Wright protecting the ball, Musi. Montgomery looking for Camargo on this near side, but offside was the... No, it wasn't. I think Montgomery may have been caught late. And a yellow card for, is it Squibble, before he's even touched the ball?
It was.
So Jordy Swivel's contribution so far has been 1 yellow card. I don't think he's actually touched the football yet, but he caught Montgomery left. And the Australian joins 3 of his teammates in the referee's notebook. Reminding you that there is a yellow card amnesty, so to speak, at the conclusion of the regular season. 3 players down in a heap there. Trafford protesting his innocence. The referee says it's going to be a Valour free kick. Surasau makes his way forward. Swibble is there as well, edge of the area. This is Swibble looking to turn, trying to lay it off, in fact, for Heen, who fairly leathered it, but the shot was charged down. Valour ball on halfway. This time Swibble is the victim. Fans and everybody else having their say. Have another look here. Swibble in possession. Shome and the Australian come together. Shome ends up on the deck.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a little bit of stud showing there from Swibble to be on a yellow card's maybe a little bit fortunate. See how or what the Cavalry players were appealing for.
Originally, the referee, I'm sure, pointed in the other direction. Hence my summation that it was going to be a Valour free kick.
Valour just kind of lost their way a little bit in this second half. Not a whole lot of attacking momentum. It's been a challenge for them all season, creating chances on a consistent basis.
Viscosi's got a problem here. The Valour goalkeeper is going to need some attention. It's get very choppy. It's got very bitty in the last 10 minutes or so. Perhaps a little bit of cramp for the Valour goalkeeper. And while he receives attention, most of the players down below us are taking an impromptu drinks break.
Yeah, I suspect this may be a little bit of a goalkeeper timeout that we're starting to see more frequently nowadays. Valour just need to collect themselves here. They're not playing a whole lot of football right now, in need of a goal.
Of course, all this will be added on at the end in injury time, stoppage time. Call it what you will. There's the playbook, says Phil. Go and execute. Let's see if we can get this done and finish with a flourish. 2 more changes. Is it just 1 more change for Valour? The introduction of Juan Sanchez. And Benati, his day is done, having left his name in the record books, having opened the scoring after 6 minutes. On Sanchez, one of the domestic U21 players. All the CPL teams mandated to use those U21 minutes. Musi, right-footed and saved by Viscosi. Referee says corner. Well, Valour needed 76 extra minutes on this final day to get to the threshold of 2,000. And they've done that with Benati alone. But there is more defending to be done here. Right on top of the goalkeeper, so to speak. Musi delivers, looking for him. Camp was well forward. They need to clear their lines. Can they launch a counter-attack with Antonoglu? Pushes it out to this near side for Mla. Into the area. Charlie Trafford will tidy up with some help from Camargo. Warszawski, everything to his right. Musi would love to score. Can he get it on his left peg? Leaves it for right. Trying to pick out Warszawski again. And in the end, very cool in defending. A little unorthodox, but it works. Viscosi urging his players forward, as he must. A point in this last game. They can walk away with their heads held high, but it won't help them into the playoffs. They absolutely have to win this game. Well, Curaçao, that's a little ambitious. Took it first time and rose significantly over Carducci's crossbar.
You can see Curaçao playing more centrally now. They've changed the system a little bit. Valour, it looks like almost a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. Curaçao and Quacy playing off Swibble, and Rafa Ohin's gone into the back line.
Trafford. Camden managed to rescue at the second attempt and then twisted and wins the free kick. And Camden stays down for the time being. Referee asking the question on whether he needs medical attention or not. I think the answer is no. Camargo takes the free kick. Montgomery cushions it back for his goalkeeper. Lucy couldn't quite win it. Mla is turning away from Warszawski. For Curaçao, heading in the right direction for Valour, trying to play it inside Ed, who's trying to see it out and does so successfully. What news from the capital, Ollie? Any goals there yet?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Goalless.
Goalless. Okay. And if that remains the status quo, in about 10 minutes from now, a point will be enough for Cavalry to lock down second place. That's the reason I asked.
The statistics don't suggest Ottawa are creating a whole lot either, so this may be good enough for Cavalry right now.
As it stands, a point will be enough to lock up second place. Noel Wright. Fashionary gives chase. Wright teasing him. And then the far post, Ali Musi, well, he was trying to chest it into the back of the net, I think. Antonoglu on the charge, over halfway into enemy territory for Valour. They've been ahead once. Can they restore their lead? Quacy and Camden. Quacy, still Quacy, terrific run, will win a corner, twisting and turning, slaloming run from Loic Quacy. And they've managed to finally block the ball at the expense of a corner. Plenty of life still in this Valour team.
It's exactly the kind of areas you want to get Quacy into. He's just almost impossible to stop one-on-one. He's so rangy and quick. Nearly created a chance there.
Antonoglu with the corner into the 6-yard area. Bodies all over the place. Referee allows play to continue. And here comes sweeper-keeper Viscosi. Valour have just got to get on with it, get it down the other end of the field. Not too many options for them. Mla for Ohin. Towards the area, easy for Klomp to deal with. Wright trying to shield the ball with his body. And then Ohin unceremoniously forward. Something for Swibble to chase. And he keeps it in. First time cross from Swibble. And the ball's going to go behind, I think, for a corner. Indeed it has. Well, there's urgency, as you might imagine, and as you might expect from Valour.
It's been better since that reorganization, and I think Swibble there just kind of takes a gamble, puts the ball in the box, and it ends up being a reasonable delivery. Could see a bit more of that from Valour. Just think less and take a few more risks.
Cavalry lining up another couple of substitutions as Antonoglu delivers. Quacy offering width at the back post. Chance to get it back into the penalty area. Here comes the cross. Carducci catching practice. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes stand between Cavalry and what is looking increasingly like a second-place finish in the regular season. Antonoglu bounces off Camargo and Trafford. Antonoglu might take it on. That's disappointing. Did all the hard work, Antonoglu, but the finish was not what he was hoping for. Just scuffed the shot. Varling and Kobza are ready for action. Next break in play. Cavalry prepared to make a couple more substitutions. Montgomery back for his captain. Carducci doesn't want it inside his penalty area, picks out Wright, who is penalised for the foul. Here come the changes then. Nicholas Varling, German winger. And Eric Kobza, big 6 foot swarm, strapping, well, can be a centre-back, might drift into midfield, I guess. Sergio Camargo's day is done. And Fraser Aird will also take a seat. All-state save of the match was produced by Jonathan Viscosi with this save. Away from Camargo's header, flying to his right. The all-state save of the match. Valour goalkeeper Jonathan Viscosi. Camden made a present of it to Alarcon. Fashionary well forward, trying to curl it towards the back post, but it cleared everybody and the cross section of the goal, and behind for the goal kick. So as it stands, with what, 2 minutes plus stoppage time to go, the visitors' Cavalry will finish in second place, and Valour will once again fail to make the playoffs. Warszewski looking for his second, wants a penalty. Was it on the edge of the area? Where did it take place? Was he in the area? Surely he was. Must be a penalty.
Yeah, I think he's given it. Oveen just gets tangled up.
Penalty, in fact, it is. Oveen just caught Warszewski's trailing leg. Warszewski puts the ball down. Has a chance to win it for Cavalry, and likely win the Golden Boot as well. Warszewski against Viscosi. Warszewski, fine penalty, powerful finish. Cavs lead for the first time by 2-1, and Warszewski may have stolen the Golden Boot with 12 goals for the season.
This dejection for Valour, it may not have mattered anyway, with Pacific still leading at Forge. Their season is going to come to an end here, but Cavalry, what an opportunity they have in front of them now to go to Hamilton, to play to host the CPL final, and if they're going to pull it off, Toby Warszewski is going to be at the centre of it. Another brilliant performance from him.
5 goals in 4 games by my reckoning for Warszewski. 2, 1 and 2 in his last 3 appearances. He wants more as well. He wants a hat-trick, Warszewski. He's going to take it on. He's a yard or so wide. Well, I think when he scored a couple of goals You're entitled to have another pop at it. Minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by Burnbrae Farms. Just realised my maths is wrong as well. It's 5 in 3 games, not 5 in 4. 2, 1 and 2. Mathematics was never my strongest subject. You won't be surprised to hear. Offside against Wright. Now we've got too many footballs on the field. Malcolm Shaw is going to get a brief cameo. And Ali Musi will take a rest. Another committed, wholehearted performance from Ali Musi.
Yeah, he's had flashes today, shown his quality, but I think the most exciting thing for Ali Musi and for Tommy Wooden Jr. is that he's got real quality around him now. At times there's been a reliance on him, not anymore. Waszewski's been excellent, and Herdman, Camargo too.
Right field, Barling into the penalty area, takes a deflection and away for another corner. That's just fine as far as Cavalry is concerned. While the ball's at that end of the field, Valour can't hurt them. But now Cavalry 100% control their own destiny. If they win, there's nothing Ottawa can do to stop them finishing in second place.
2 second-half goals for Halifax, so they're actually going to finish 6th as things stand.
Valour suffered only 1 loss in their last 7. 5 of them draws. But it has been an indication of their maturity as a team. Alarcon goes long over the head of Swibble. Trafford picks up the loose ends. Camden into opposition territory. Trafford again, Waszewski wins the throw. Still competing to the last. And Cavalry took a little time to warm up in this game. They were shell-shocked in the first 10 minutes. There's going to be a red card here. And Phil Dos Santos, the Valour head coach, has been sent off. Clearly for something he said. But Mr. Rudolph did not like the tone from the Valour coach. And Phil Dos Santos, straight red card. Picks up his coats and makes his exit, still complaining, Phil Dos Santos. It's all gone very sour for Valour after a really bright start to the day. And Dos Santos, a figure of frustration. It's loud cheers from the home fans. But I can only imagine something that he said, or a gesture that he made.
They've had some decisions go against him this season, there's no question about that, and he's generally held his tongue. Frustration boiling over there, I think, at the end of a campaign that's not going to finish the way they wanted.
It is not. 30 seconds, perhaps. Not much more. Try that one again, says the referee. Maheen does. Feeds Alarcon. Everybody else in the Cavalry half of the field. Maheen's just got to belt it forward. More in hope than expectation. Waszewski for Wright. Trafford keeps it moving for the men in white from Calgary, from Spruce Meadows. It'll be playoff action time there in the not too distant future. Referee blows his final whistle, and Cavalry have come from behind on the final day of the regular season to claim 3 more points and lock up second place in the Canadian Premier League. 2 second-half goals from Toby Warszewski, who is on fire going into the playoffs and may just have won himself the 2024 CPL Golden Boot. With 12 goals on the season, Valour will rebuild again for 2025. Benati gave them the early lead, but it is Cavalry who emerge victorious in Winnipeg by 2-1. VW moment of the match. We had a few to pick from, but in the end, it was a clinical penalty from Toby Warszewski, which secured all 3 points and second place in the Canadian Premier League in the last minute of stoppage time. The VW moment of the match, Toby Warszewski. Who did, Ollie, what they pay him to do. He has been lights out the last 2 or 3 weeks.
He's the informed player in the Canadian Premier League going into the playoffs, and what a gift that is to have for Cavalry. It was a big void to fill when Maya Bevan didn't come back to this team. He obviously was the co-Golden Boot winner last season, and they went out and found another one in Toby Warszewski, and it looks like he's going to win it outright this time. So fantastic player, does so much for them in all facets of the game, but the goals have been coming thick and fast in recent weeks.
By my shaky reckoning, 5 goals in his last 3 appearances for Toby Warszewski. And you can't keep a good man down. Big hug from his head coach. And he is the difference maker again. Credit Valour. They made a really good game of it for the first hour or so, I would say. Held grimly onto their lead. Those 2 second-half strikes from Warszewski. Well, there are still smiles in the crowd from the home fans. Let's hope they all come back in 2025. But Valour knew what the task was coming in, and in the final analysis, they could not execute. And they fall to another defeat. And once again, Valour will be on the outside looking in for the playoffs.
I hope they stick with this group, because like, I know there's going to be a narrative when you miss the playoffs 6 seasons in a row of same old Valour, and the disappointment is going to be there, but there's more to this team than I think there has been in past years, and just gave themselves too much to do with the way they started the season. That long road trip went disastrously for them. Certainly the first 5 games of it, all defeats. But this team has grown over the course of the season. It's not perfect. They're still going to need to improve over the off-season, but there is something there to build on, I think, in a way that hasn't always been the case in Winnipeg from one season to the next.
I think I absolutely agree with you. And you know, when you look forward to 2025 and quite what Valour will look like at the start of next season, I think there will be a few fans around the league, maybe a few broadcasters and maybe a few teams who might just underestimate them, because, as you say, this is a team that was essentially put together from scratch at the start of this season back in April. They have grown as a team. It hasn't, in the final analysis, produced the results they wanted. But with another season under their belts, we make the perfect point. There is something to build on here.
Yeah, it's not going to be a case of 14 new signings again this offseason. There's going to be more consistency from one year to the next, and I hope this team is given runway to achieve their potential.
Now, Cavalry, they've done what they came to do, professional job. Came from behind, won by 2-1, and so they are locked into second place for the playoffs. We know they will play Forge in the first semi-final, but they will get, if necessary, 2 bites at the cherry. They hope that is not necessary. Let's go down to Field Devil And hear from the Gatorade performer of the game. Not the first time I've spoken to Toby Warszewski, because he keeps scoring goals. Toby, congratulations again on 2 more goals. You had to work for that today over 90 minutes. Valour knew what they had to do. They came out, they got that early lead. It took a little while for you guys to get going today, didn't it?
Yeah, I agree. We took it like a playoff match, and like we knew that they come and give everything. Like they fight it for a spot as well, and was for sure difficult in the beginning. And I think we took in second half all game.
Toby, firstly, congratulations, because I think barring any late goals we haven't seen, you've won the Golden Boot. How satisfying is that in your first season in Calgary?
I'm just happy. I'm happy we guaranteed the second place right now, and yeah, looking forward to the playoffs, and thank you as a team as well. You know, was not on my own that I scored.
Talk about those goals. I mean, that first goal, breakdown from a corner, and you must have seen it relatively late. You just took it first time, you put your bootlaces through it. I mean, you must be sky high in confidence when those chances come to you, and you don't waste a second, you just go for it.
Yeah, I knew, like, top of the box, like, I have a free shot, I need to take it. Just put it on target in this moment, a lot of guys in front, and it went in.
And then you win the penalty, and I don't think there was any discussion about who was going to take it, was there?
Oh yeah, I missed the last one, and but the team gave it to me, and I was confident in scoring.
We'll let you go and enjoy the moment with your teammates, Toby, but congratulations, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the playoffs.
Thank you.
Toby Warszewski, match winner for Cavalry, who had to weather a bit of a storm in the first half, maybe perhaps for the first hour, against a valiant Valour effort, but got the job done and came out on top and victorious by 2-1. Fourth time this season they have gone undefeated against Valour. Well, on behalf of Ollie Platt and our entire One Soccer team, I'm Nigel Reid in Winnipeg. Thank you so much for watching.
At CIBC, we know that nothing feeds ambition like momentum. So no matter what your goals are, from starting a business to sending money back home, a conversation with us about your goals can set everything in motion. And once that ball of possibilities gets rolling, watch out, world.
tonybet.
At tonybet, get treated like a VIP. Bet on live games with odds on all sorts of sports. That's what you get when you bet with
tonybet.
Oh, Carol, always the earliest holiday shopper.
It's Holly. Uh-oh.
You know who's gonna win?
Holly.
Carol.
What?
Carol.
No, Holly.
Get out of here.
Don't miss the Canadian Premier League final, Saturday, November the 9th at 3 p.m. Eastern, live on CBC.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
Hey, let's go somewhere beachy. I don't like sand. What? What about Cancun sand? It's so soft. Or maybe Caribbean white sand. Sure. Ooh, Costa Rican sand. It's got dolphins.
Costa Rica then?
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Good choice.
It was all him.
With over 50 sunny destinations to choose from, we have a flight for that.